Assalamu alaikum, concerned citizen of South Sudan. Hey, Nama Kuntum. Tonight, big show. We are going to have our guest shortly, Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba, the former Minister of Higher Education in South Sudan and member of an IO as well. He's going to be here momentarily. But I want to welcome you and greet you all. You know, it is 9:14 approximately right now in Juba. And, just thank you for tuning in today to our program. We have a lot of issues. As you are aware that peace agreement has been signed, and that's the topic of our show tonight. So let me go ahead and see here if I can do some technical with Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba, which is, I think, some indication here that he has some technical issues, but we will fix that. I know that we'll fix that. I am calling you right now, Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba. Go ahead and answer that before I move on and do more introduction to our show. Just go ahead and accept that right now so I can bring you live. So while I'm doing that, let's go ahead and listen to Quincy here and move on. So Peter Adwok Nyaba, I'm calling you right now. Actually, if you answer that, it will come through. Just hit that green button, and then we will move forward. Or if you have technical issue with answering that, go ahead and hit the green button. There is a green button below the video, and I think that will bring you live right away. Meanwhile, I'm going to keep trying here. Hit the green button, and that will bring you right away. Yep. I do see that. I'm calling you right now. So that should be fine. Here we go.
Yes, Jongkor. Hello.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
Salam alaikum.
Adwok Nyaba, I can see you live there. Alhamdulillah. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan, sir. It's good to see you here with us. But first and most, I want you to introduce yourself to our viewers because before I start, our interview tonight. Go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, shukran jazilan. I want to thank you, Jongkor, for this opportunity that will enable me to speak to some of our people live. I'm talking from Nairobi.
Yes.
And of course, I'm Peter Adwok Nyaba, former Minister of Higher Education, Science and Technology in the first government of the Republic of South Sudan. But of course, since 2013, we've been out in the opposition. And this is what I want to say now, but the rest will follow as we continue.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Again,
and first,
one more time.
I want,
go ahead.
I want to greet all of our people who are following, who are listening, who are also watching us live on this show. Thank you very much.
Again, one more time, thank you so much, sir, for coming here to speak live to the people of South Sudan so they can hear your voice and we can ask some very important. As you viewers are concerned, citizen of South Sudan, you have heard Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba, the former Minister of Higher Education and Technology, is live with us from Nairobi tonight. We are all aware that the peace agreement was signed not too long ago. And this time, actually, I was reading so many articles of yours. Some people may think that you are a very controversial politician, but I do not think you are very controversial. I do think that you are a free man, a man that speaks with his own will, free when he speaks. That's what I can say about you. First, to start our session here, I have a question for you, Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba. As a political leader and an elder at the same time, So now the peace has been signed, which is revitalization peace process. As you indicated on your latest article, that the president this time does not have revitalization. What does that mean? I want to get your view on this regard.
No, what I said is that the president has not expressed any reservations,
Yes.
like what happened in 2015,
Mm-hmm.
which is what brought us problems and the war in 2016. So this time is good that he has accepted it, and we congratulate him for that. It's good that the peace agreement has been signed with the reservations that have been expressed by the opposition. But the the test of the fighting is in the, is in the eating. What is very important now is the implementation of this agreement. If it is implemented, of course, there are difficulties with that. But the most important thing in this implementation is the cessation of hostility. Because once violence is stopped, then now people can go back home, go back to their villages, go back to wherever they came from, and recreate their lives. This is the most important thing. That is the starting point.
Okay.
Because not everybody is going to be in government. Our people are not interested in power. Our people are interested in seeing that they receive the social and economic services they deserve. Because that is the real reason why we fought, why we've been fighting the different governments in Khartoum. Such that our country is developed, we have education, we have health services, we have, the infrastructure, roads, the country is open, so that you are able to reach any part of the country without any problem. This is what we have been fighting for. Because what Khartoum did, especially after the independence 1956, was to economically marginalize the South, to socially discriminate on the basis of religion, on the basis of language, on the basis of, culture, and then to politically exclude South Sudanese. That's why Southerners took up arms first in 1955, and this was resolved because then in 1972, when we received the regional self-rule under Nimeri, then the war broke out again because the regional self-rule was not enough. You would recall that South Sudan, there was no economic development. There was serious stagnation. People were turning against themselves, even organizing themselves along tribal lines, and war had to break up again. Now, this got resolved by the Comprehensive Peace Agreement. The Comprehensive Peace Agreement, what we expected was that, okay, the South now had money. It had the oil money. Okay, so what remained was how to employ or use this money for the development, for socio-economic development of South Sudan. In terms of what? In terms of schools, in terms of hospitals, in terms of agriculture, developing the agriculture, building roads, building our universities, so that we can really, instead of sending our people to Uganda, to Kenya, and all the East African countries, they learn at home. So this never happened.
Yes.
And as a result, war broke out again. Because the opposition did not have what you would call a political program for resolving this crisis. And because many of them were just interested in the issue of power, that's why the war became what it was, the kind of destruction to our people in their villages and so on, and people turning against themselves on tribal lines and also on provincial lines. So it means that that thing cannot go on. It is the ordinary South Sudanese who is suffering, while some of us who are leaders, who are opposition, are living outside comfortably. outside. So we say, no, this thing, the war should stop. Say that we go back home. We will discuss what were the real problems. You see, what are the problems that has created this kind of situation? So Sudanese fought against their common enemy as one people. How is it that as soon as we became independent, we have turned against ourselves? Even in areas where there was no war against the state, you find the people fighting among themselves. You go to Bahr Ghazal. There was no war against the government in Bahr Ghazal, except in Western Bahr Ghazal. But you look at what happened in Rumbek, between the Agars themselves as a people, between the Agars and the Gok, between the Gok and the Rek, between the Rek and the Luanjang, between the Agok and the Apuk, and so on. This kind of thing where people are fighting among themselves for no reason is the failure of the system which we have created. And this system must be corrected such that people don't have to fight themselves, such that we can now rebuild our country. We can we cannot be beggars outside while foreigners are in our home enjoying and taking advantage of our fighting. Is just like when you put bring two rams together and hit their head, and they will continue fighting, and you just laugh at what they are doing to themselves. This is what is happening to Junubin, and the foreigners who are there, they are just enjoying, taking advantage of whatever it is, and we are fighting ourselves. Can't we think? Don't we have brains to see this? So these are some of the issues which I think the war must end, so that we address them, and so that our people can really go back to what they were 30 years ago, when they fought the war as one and the same people.
Thank you, Dr. Peter Adwagnyaba. So you tackled the issue fighting with the North for nearly 22 years. And you also indicated that we were fighting for marginalization. We have been marginalized, no services. They were not just to the people of South Sudan. Now, coming back to revitalization process that we are talking about today, does this peace revitalization agreement that signed yesterday address the root cause, justice, liberty, and prosperity? Does it address that the issue?
No. But of course, this is where the problem is. You see, because those who had the problem, who took up arms, the opposition, for instance, what did they present? It has just been about power and power sharing. That is why all this time, 2 years now, has been spent on the issue of power, who has the power and how it will be divided. And that's why we have ended up with now 5 vice presidents or deputy presidents, 50 ministers, 550 MPs. This is not going to solve the problem of South Sudan, because the problem of South Sudan, the real problem of our people, is poverty and ignorance. Poverty, ignorance, and illiteracy. If these are not addressed through serious economic program, the crisis, this problem, this conflict can erupt again at any time. So the root causes, which you see, what you see as tribalism, as corruption, these are just symptoms of this big problem of poverty. And poverty, not because we don't have the resources. The resources are there, but the resources are not used. They are not being used. They have not been developed. Our productive forces are still very weak. That's why we are poor. Jongkor, if you go, okay, in Mayol or in Bahr Ghazal or in Upper Nile or in Equatoria. In Equatoria, you have agriculture, huge agriculture potential. It's not being tapped. You go to Eastern Equatoria, the whole of Upper Nile and Bahr Ghazal, people have cattle. If somebody has 100 heads of cattle, is he a poor person?
No, of course.
He's not a poor person. But he is poor. He has nothing, because this wealth is just cultural. It is not economic. So what the government should do is to turn it from being a cultural asset used for marriage, for a show that I have cattle, 2,000 of so cattle, but to turn it into economic assets, into milk which can bring money, or his hides and his skins, or beef, or these things which will get money, which will now be able, you use money for getting other things, for getting medicine, for sending your children to school, and so on, all this kind of thing. So it is this poverty which we need to address. You see, by developing the resources, by developing the natural resource, and South Sudan has a lot of these resources in terms of livestock, in terms of agriculture potential, in terms of forestry, in terms of fisheries, in terms of wildlife, in terms of water resources, turning this water into power, into electricity. You see, to generate power and to electrify the country. These are the things which need to be done, not power. Because only one person can sit in J1, that is Salva Kiir. Okay, how many people can be there? How many people can be in government? At least if 30 or 40, that's all. The bulk of all the South Sudanese are just there. They have to be working in order to generate wealth. You see, this world develops because you generate wealth. You generate resource through the making use of the resources and also the knowledge and the technology that has now been made available as a result of the development of the world. So this is what I mean by that the root causes of the problem have not been resolved. And IGAD cannot resolve that. That is not the work of IGAD. What IGAD did was to bring peace, to stop the war. This is what they're supposed to do. Say that the warring parties don't have to continue fighting. But the real, what the issues that will address the root causes are the people themselves sitting. And that's why we're saying that the high level revitalization forum should have been a kind of a workshop where you bring in all the leaders, say that they really address, they study and investigate the problems, the root problems, and get a program of how to resolve that, how to address this. And now it will become just a very easy point to put who will be able to implement this, who will be able to implement. And that's it. You see?
Oh,
so this
correct.
is where the problem. So we have been, there's always been a misunderstanding or misstatement of the problem.
So now my next question, Dr. Adwak, you talk about the services and how the wealth and how lack of the system created all this turmoil we are in now. With the peace revitalization that took place, I do see there are some political organizations were let out. And not too long ago, I believe so 2 hours ago, I received a joint statement by some political organization, which is National Salvation Front, Thomas Cirillo, and also Pagana Mom, which is FD wing of the United States, and also Dr. Hakim of PDM, and also Ambassador Emmanuel Ajawin of NDM. So they make a statement that this peace unsustainable because failed to address the root cause, which is the federalism. Okay. Now, was this peace inclusive in your opinion?
Well, Jongkor, that statement, I read it. I was laughing actually, because the FDs were there. Okay? It's only Deng Alor signed as FD. Some elements of the NAS also signed. Also, within the SAWA, Dr. Lam, who is the chairman of the NDM, also was there. Only it was Gabriel Changson who signed for SOA. Yes, of course, in any agreement, there are people who will agree there are people who will not agree. Okay? Why have we reached this stage? If we ask ourselves as the opposition, because the opposition took up arms, it was first the SPLMIO. We took up arms in order to bring a change, okay? Because the system was bad. And now we lost track of that as IO, okay?
We lost your voice.
Sorry?
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying, go ahead, yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
When you are negotiating peace, but then negotiations, in this negotiation there are is give and take. Okay? But if you didn't want negotiation, if we did not want negotiation, it means that we have to fight and organize ourselves and have a program of what to do. Okay? I'll give you an example. For instance, when the Vietnam War, okay? The Vietnamese refused, the Viet Cong refused the peace. They would go for peace in Paris, but they said no, this government must go. And in the end, they defeated the government and they managed to unite the country. This is what it would mean, because they have a national program of what to do, how to build their country, and because they saw exactly what the problem was, that the problem was the system. In the case of the opposition, they are struggling to go back to Juba and go back into the government, which is, the government has not changed. How are they going to do it? You see? So to me, it doesn't make any sense at all, especially for the people who have not been fighting. For people who have fought, they know what it means. That to continue fighting, you need to have all the logistics and so on, which is not there. And also, if you got divided, so the best thing is to go in, make the peace, and continue the struggle for whatever you would want, because the struggle doesn't change. As I said, is that the fundamental contradiction has not been resolved. It will still be there. So it will be a struggle. Now the struggle, instead of using guns, you will now using ideas and politics. So you need to organize and organize your ideas well to be able now to continue and win. You see, use the constitutional means in the parliament and through organizations, civil society, and so on. That's it. So really, to me, those guys who have, I don't want to talk in the way McQuay said the other time, that these people were not, they can be ignored. No, nobody should be ignored. But let them come with what it is. The struggle continues.
Okay. Well, Dr. Adwok, you said the best thing to do is to go in and start advocating within. We are all aware that the peace grantor, the Troika, the United States, the European Union, the AU, they expressed that they have not read the agreement, so they are no longer granted. And you are saying that we should go in and then start advocating within the country. What guarantee that the national security of President Kiir is not going to arrest these people? Or if someone expressed their opinion, is not going to be shot by unknown gunmen?
Well, that, to me, actually, the person who can guarantee this peace in South Sudan are the South Sudanese themselves. It's not the foreigners. It's not Troika. It's not anybody. It is us who can agree and build on what we have agreed on in order to if we are concerned about the denial of our people. You see, because the country is already is on what you call a deathbed. As a country, South Sudan is on a deathbed. So, to me, I trust more in myself and in our people rather than in foreigners who are not there. First of all, what have they been doing in order to solve this problem? What have they been doing in the last 5 years? Okay? It was Kerry who came and said, okay, Sulfur now should be in, the status quo should be recognized. And the region went about to recognize this. Now, how can they go and say now that they have not read it? This thing was distributed almost a week ago. It's not that they can say that they don't agree with it, okay? But because there are certain things there which have not been answered. But you know, in order to create a system, it's not done in one day. You need to struggle. You need people who I mean, you need time. Say that certain things are put in place. One of the things which I'm saying should be put in place is the issue of ceasefire. Once you stop the violence, our people will talk, and our people can talk. Okay? In fact, it was completely, to me, it is a bit shameful that we had the opposition and the government had to go to Khartoum and discuss this. What is it that they could have not done outside Khartoum and outside the intervention of Khartoum and Uganda? I think they could have done it. There is nothing that happened in Khartoum. On the contrary, the government just wanted legitimacy, you know, because Khartoum interest is to get the oil flowing, say that they have the money they want. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Now, Dr. Adwok, many South Sudanese have called for a federal government. Should the federalist system be a way of governing in South Sudan?
For one, I believe that federalism is not going to be a solution to our problem. Because let us be very clear. What is federalism? Federalism, the countries which now implement federalism are, say, the United States of America.
Yes.
The United States of America was formed out of 13 states. Each state independent and a sovereign state. They started to surrender some of their sovereignty to the common good, to the federal. Okay? So, in this way, some of their, the powers they have, they surrendered it to the central government. In the rest of the countries, like Sudan, South Sudan and Sudan, Nigeria, South Africa, these were colonial states, highly centralized. Highly centralized, it means that the power was somewhere in Khartoum. You will remember Sudan was divided into 9 provinces. And 9 provinces came the NIF, and they made it 26 states, which was even more centralization of power in Khartoum. And in the end, one man. Okay? Because the war in the south, there was war in the south, they accepted the peace, that south can go. And because they wanted Sudan, what they called the Sudan, to remain as a most Islamic state. Okay? Now, they are talking of federalism. There is no federalism being implemented there. In South Sudan, from 2005, we had a constitution in which we had 10 states. Each state with its own constitution, its government, okay? Its own judiciary, its own government and legislature, which was one aspect of federalism. But the power was still
in the central,
being exercised in Juba. All the money was in Juba. Okay? Which means what? Which means that it is difficult to federate a highly centralized post-colonial state. So difficult, it's not easy. And that's why there is the war now. Is it not because of power? So how are you going? How will Salva Kiir relinquish his power? If he is refusing even to share it, how will he relinquish it? What we need, because many South Sudanese are so angry with each other, there has been a lot of marginalization. There has been a lot of discrimination. There has been a lot of, kind of, exclusion of some people in some areas. This is happening because we don't have a proper system. The system is bad. And if the system is bad in the center, and you federate it, which means that you will be transporting this bad system to the states. I mean, this is the reality we are in now in South Sudan. Look at what is happening. You have the states, and you have the states. They have the budget. Are they really doing it in the way they should be doing it? Are they listening to the people? No. So the system we have, this presidential system, is so bad because we inherited it from Khartoum. It needs to be changed. And to change it, you need peace, actually. So that people who understand the issues, social issues, economic issues, and political issues can sit down. The problem in South Sudan is that everybody makes himself or herself a politician and want to participate without knowledge of what they're talking about. So this has been our problem. You get somebody because of social relations is being promoted or being appointed and is unable to carry out the functions of that position he is doing. So you need to change, you need to create a good system, a democratic system, a system based on the will of the people, not on the will of one individual or an ethnic community, you see, which gives itself, arrogates itself the power to be nearer to the president, like the Gen Council of Elders. These people have created, they have really destroyed the South. You see, they have this, because who are they? Who elected them? What do they represent? Is it an institution within the state? How can one, South Sudan has 67 ethnic communities. How can one ethnic community ally itself to the president and be the first, the one now doing all the policies and creating all the kinds of situations we are in, just because they want to keep power? So this is the biggest problem. Now, because of that, everybody now wants to be, everybody wants to have his own state. And they think that federalism is going to be the answer. Federalism is not going to be the answer. It's going to create more problems. Because as soon as you have a state, then people will now divide along not only ethnic, along clans and families. You will have complications more, because then this is very destructive. It is really distracting us from the real issues of development, of socio-economic development of South Sudan. So federalism is not really what can really bring peace and which can unite our people in South Sudan. No, we wanted to create a state and a nation in South Sudan. This is what we have been fighting for a long time. So that I identify myself not as a Shuluk or a Dinka, but I identify myself first as a South Sudanese. See, and build this this patriotism. Some of us who have been I mean, a bit of age, went to school early in the 60s. We know what it was. Southern has never had this kind of thing as what is happening now. You see, we loved each other. When we went to Rumbek Secondary School, where the South was, there was nothing called tribal associations. There was nothing like that. Now, even in outside, like you people in America or in Australia, you are organizing and socializing on tribal basis or as clans. It is not real waste of time. How can you waste your time on something very far away? It's better you benefit from the system you are in and integrate yourself so that you benefit. Now many people are wasting their time. They have no jobs. They are not educating themselves, thinking that they will go back home. They will come back to South Sudan. No. What are they going to do? They are not helping South Sudanese. They are not helping South Sudan in the way they are doing. They can only help South Sudan by having the correct knowledge of the situation and bring the technology to help the people in South Sudan. Not encouraging tribalism and also, sectionalism. You see, and agitating for more divisions and more states. This will not help us.
Thank you, Dr. Adwok, for answering that question. So now you indicated that federalism is not going to be good for South Sudan.
Yeah.
And you also mentioned that the power in South Sudan concentrated on the central, which is the capital, Juba. And
Yeah.
I believe, and you believe as well, population of South Sudan are in rural area. Majority of our people, they are in rural. They are in Kodok, they are in Fashoda, they are in Awil, they are in Kaboita, and so forth. That's where the population of South Sudan. Now you said federalism is not good. What kind of system though would be suitable for South Sudan in your opinion? And also, being a member of IO, does that mean IO organization abandoned the federalism?
Yeah, well, okay. You see, this thing of, yes, in the IO, I personally opposed it. Internally we had discussions. I opposed it. And there are a lot of things which we opposed internally. Okay? One, like for instance, what was felt that we needed 21 states. And I opposed it. It's 21 states which was proposed by IO. We said, which has brought in the problems now. Okay? So internally we had discussions in the IO, and of course some of these were not reflected externally. But the truth is that federalism is not going to solve. It is something which Junubian must discuss. Okay? And you come with your arguments, and the others will come with their arguments. It cannot be imposed by one person. This was the idea of Riyak. And Riyak will always come up with something which he has not studied. He has not studied it in order to find what would be the cons and the pros of that. Okay? So it is counted as IO. There was a lot of opposition within the IO. It is some people who agitated, it is the elite. Some people who think that it is a way of getting power. That's why they want this federalism, in order to be able to go to their states and also become some despots there in that kind of thing. If we are unable to build, you see, for now, since 2005 until 13 years now, 13 years, we have not been able, what do we have in South Sudan? Even a single road we have not been able to build. Okay? We have not been able to build, because what happened is that the money went into the pockets of people, into salaries and pockets, and no idea of what the real reason for which people sacrificed was completely forgotten. It was abandoned. Okay? Where is this? Who are these people who will come and implement this federalism? Is that the same elite? Isn't that the same people who have stolen the money of the people, who have stashed, since 2005, have taken the money, instead of investing in the country, they are investing in Kenya here, they are investing in Uganda, they are investing, building palaces abroad, buying a house, a leader buying a house for $1.5 million in Australia, and he has no even a tukul in his home. It is the kind of leaders who will implement this federalism? No. It's just something, it's a slogan they want to use in order to, kind of ensnare people. You see, just for political mobilization. It has nothing, nothing in it at all.
Okay. Thank you. Now, I asked you for what system then, but I didn't get any answer, Dr. Adwok, but I'm not going to press you on that. Let us move on.
No, wait. Why? The system is created by people. Okay? There is no formula that this is the system must be built by people. We have to be there to build it. Okay? We need to have rules, certain rules to follow, certain principles that will guide us.
Yes.
In order to build what we would call a system in South Sudan. And this one can only come in the context of this discussion. But first of all, to have this discussion, an inclusive discussion, there must be peace. There must not be any violence at all. We must stop this violence, so that people can sit down and talk.
Yes.
And talk as citizens of the same country. You see, not people fighting themselves and show guns to themselves. And if somebody disagrees with your point, you shoot him. No, you cannot have you can have a system in that. You cannot build a good system with that kind of thing, of intimidation.
Yes.
Of these unknown gunmen you said before. The unknown gunmen are known gunmen. They are people used to kill people they don't want. You see? So we want to stop that. So that you have peace, you have security for everybody. You see, nobody should feel intimidated. Nobody should feel that his opinion will not be accepted because he is talking this, or he is a chuluk, or he's a dinka. No, we need that system where there is no violence among ourselves, so that we are able to discuss. And this is where it would have been appropriate now for the so-called national dialogue to take place. You see, the national dialogue which the government instituted 2 years ago. This would be the time for it now, when there is no violence, such that nobody is intimidated. People will say their opinion without fear. You see? So this is what I mean.
Thank you. I like the way you answer it. Yes, there is no formula for a system. System is always being created by the people, and people are the one that have to sit around table and come up. And that's the thing that South Sudan has been lacking since we gained independence. And instead of sitting down and bring the lawyers and doctors and the men of churches and mosques, whatever, we supposed to sit down as the sons and daughters of the country and restructure our home and say, now we have been fighting for justice, liberty, prosperity. We gain independence. What next? What we can do? How we should rule this country? What can be applied? But it didn't happen. Now I'm going to move forward, Dr. Adwok, to ask you a question about security arrangement. There are so many speculations. And you are aware in 2015, President has reservation. And that's why that peace didn't go nowhere. It ended up with fighting in J1 in 2016. Now, members of IO, I have heard in numerous times that actually they have agreed with the government that they are going to have equal numbers. I want to get assurance from that. Is that true, that if a government have one soldier and then the IO will have one soldier in Juba? Is that true?
No, what I think it is already what has been the security arrangements has been done, that you are going to have a new army, a new police, new national security, new everything new. You see, composed from all the ethnic communities in South Sudan. That's why I think the transitional period, pre-transitional period, is made into 8 months. This is to allow the training of a new national army, a new national police, a new national security, and so on. So really, let people should look at the text, what has been written, you see, and rather than just talking. I think this is the most important thing. And already there are countries which have been appointed to oversee the formation of this national army. Whether it will be implemented according to the letter and the spirit of this agreement is something else. I cannot tell now. Okay, we wait and see, all of us. Okay, but we would pray that people, those in position of authority, will be able to do it according to the letter and the spirit of the agreement.
So I mean,
that we don't have war again. What we need is an army. We don't want a tribal army. Okay, we need an army that is national in character.
Correct.
The national doctrine, military doctrine. You see, say that it doesn't have to go and kill people. It should be a people's army, people's defense force which will now be able to protect the people wherever it is deployed. You see? And the very concept of security also is that what people have been talking about is that the security, when you talk of national security, and because of the system which we inherited from Khartoum, it's like they see the person they protect is the president. No, national security, and we were in Khartoum. I was in the parliament in Khartoum when we were discussing this issue of the Security Act, because the national security is not the army. It cannot take the place of the army, nor can it take the place of the police.
Yes.
The national security is supposed to gather information.
Intelligence.
Information about whoever is making bad things about the country, about its economy, about its politics, diplomacy, and so on. When they gather that information, they know that there is something wrong with that person now, they take these papers to the Attorney General.
Yes.
And that person is now arrested by the police. Okay? And the police will do the rest. But this is what they're supposed to do. Now, if you see our national security is even another army in itself. They have their tanks, they have their air force, it's a parallel army. It's not what it's supposed to be, you see? And this is where the very concept of national security is really at risk, because national security is the human security which is important. You see, it's the human security in terms of livelihoods, in terms of, physical security, in terms of also mental security and psychological security. Okay. So really, let us not jump the gun, so they say. So wait, let us see how they are going to implement these security arrangements during the transitional period.
No problem. Yeah. So I still have a few questions to go, and then after that, I will let you go, Dr. Adwok. Now, I want to know when Dr. Riek Machar will arrive to Juba then, and how many forces will go with, for special protection. That's what I wanted to know exactly.
And by the way, let me correct you. It's not Dr. Riek now again. It's not like the one of 2015. Now you will have 5, you will have 4 who will become, or how many? 3 who will be coming from outside. Okay, Riek and 2 others. Okay, because you have 2 inside. No, 3 will be coming from Riek and 2 others. So we don't know what the format it will take. There's a committee now which will be doing all the preparations. We'll oversee the implementation of the articles that have been agreed upon. And I think for that we should give it time. We don't know, because it will be after 8 months. It should be somewhere in April or May next year that they will form the government. You see? So there's still a long time to go. The other thing is that of course, I sometimes back, I think since January, I've been kind of disengaged myself from it. You see, if you have read some of my things, some of the papers I've been writing, I've been very critical about some of this, what is going on within the opposition, within the IO in particular. So I have some kind of, not an active member as what I used to be in 2015, 2016. Yeah.
So now, with that statement that you said you have been disengaged, is that a referral for your famous article that you wrote not too long ago, that Nuerli behaving, and then some people label you that one day you will be disciplined, that's why you become more disengaged, or what it is?
No, there was nothing against the Nuer. No, listen, you see, you guys are very young people, you don't know. When I said Nuer, you see, the Nuers are the only people in South Sudan. Yes. When they want to fight, they will tell you. Okay? They will tell you that we are going to fight. You
I understand,
take your things. So this is what we call Nuer behavior. Okay? No any other tribe does that. So when we said we were going to fight, you see, you don't announce that you are going to fight. Well, you're already in the situation of war.
Correct.
So this is what I term as we were behaving nearly. You see? But some people, it was used, to put me in bad light with the Nuer people. No,
exactly.
I think it was completely misunderstood and taken out of context. You see?
Great.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that so people too can understand what you meant exactly. Because, in my own opinion, what I thought actually, when you said Nuer behaving, it's not necessarily the way Nuer behave. This kind of behavior when someone rush, to conclusion without, make a calculation, that can be a Shuluk behaving or a Dinka behaving or a Latuka behaving too. So that's what
No.
you meant.
No. But it was in the context. It was in the context of we in the political bureau of IO made a decision. And this thing was floated on the social media. It was not supposed, because it's a secret.
Oh, okay.
Strategic decisions of the movement cannot be put on the social media. So it coincides with the way our people behave, that there is no secret. There's nowhere, and this was I qualified, if you read that thing well, that no party can operate with its windows open, or its doors open, or its papers just flying like that. No. There are certain things that have to be kept. They will only be seen after 50 years. You declassify them after about 50 years. You see? So this is what I meant. But if you see, now there's some change in the IO behavior because they are not putting their things on the social media as they used to do it. You see?
Okay. Now, I know that you are very much disengaged, but you still a member, an active member of IO. If I must ask you the question, Dr.
I'm a South Sudanese. I'm a South Sudanese.
Yes.
I'm a political thinker.
Yes.
And I'm free. I will not have any kind of, ropes or strings tying me to any political.
That's why.
This is the meaning of somebody who has liberated himself. You see?
That's why I said from the beginning of this program that you are a free man, who can speak from, his mind, his heart without any fear of somebody. That's good.
Yeah.
Now, if I may ask you this question. So the peace has been signed. IO, they are coming home. What is the priority in terms of economic, what are the priorities of IO?
But it is not going to be an IO government. It is a government. They are going to be part of it. Yes. If I can say that. Okay? And this is what people should have done in this talks, the high level revitalization, was to come out with a program of what to do in these 3 years. Instead of just what do you call it, power sharing. No. People should really come out with a program of what to do, what are the priorities areas. You see, say that now they come and implement it straight. Okay? But this is not the case. This is not the case, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, South Sudan, the elders have been in control of everything. And you all know, it's always an elder in a position, in a decision maker in South Sudan. We have witnessed recently what happened in Ethiopia. I believe he's the youngest, president in East Africa so far, what I have seen, the Abiy Ahmed of Ethiopia. Now, that peace has been signed, and then we are going to have a new national government of unity. Is the IO and the government and other political parties in South Sudan are still going to use the same rules of Randit or rules of Janlung or rule whatever you call it, and leave out the young South Sudanese people from decision making?
No, but Jongkor, there is nothing like that. If you look at when we came in 2016,
yes,
we had the youngest minister, two young ministers. One was Mobior Garang. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We had also Peter. These young guys in their 30s. Okay. The issue is not that. The issue is when it's the kind of system you want to establish, a democratic system.
Yes.
Whereby people get elected. And that one depends also on the society, the way our society look at things. Okay? And the kind of opportunities they leave to people to be able to really, get out the best of them, to be able to work. Is that thing there or not? You see, and each country has its own peculiarity. South Sudanese are not like the Ethiopians. You see, South Sudanese have their own peculiarity. You have many different 67 ethnic groups. In the Dinka community, I'll ask you, in the Dinka community in Mayol, can they make a small boy a chief?
No, they cannot.
It's not. Yes. Our system is based on the traditions.
But maybe, let me disrupt you. I'm sorry. Let me disrupt you. But now, there is a difference between a tribal system, having a chief, or having ref, or having king, or whatever in our, and the ruler.
Why are you saying this again? What about this Young Council of Elders?
No, yeah, of course.
They are the ones, they are the decision makers. Just a minute.
I disagree with them.
Decision makers.
And what
they call themselves, listen. They call themselves the Young Council of Elders. They are not young people. They are now the ones around Salva, the president himself, and giving him the advice. Now, how would a young Dinka guy come to power with these elders there? They have made themselves into a body that now can decide on issues. Okay?
And
so already why, this is,
and that's why I try to make a point here, Dr. Adwak, that we are a country. We are not just a tribal. We are not just Chiluk or Anyuag or Dinka. We are now a collective of that tribe called a Republic of South Sudan. It should not be based on the tribal rules on the national level.
Reality, but in reality, it is not that. It is not the democratic system we wanted. It is not. We are now organized as tribal elders. These are the people who are pulling the shots in government. And you go to the assembly, you have ethnic tribal caucuses making decisions, lobbying for their people to be put in positions of authority. So where is it? Where is the system we are talking? It is not here in South Sudan. Maybe it will be done. It is something which we desire, which we aspire to.
Yes, but that means that the young people's voices have been ignored, and that's why things are not going well in the country, because
but that's why we say that we have to struggle to change this system. This is why we are saying that we have to struggle to change this system. Struggling now not by firearms, but by mentally coming out with ideas. Ideas that are powerful, that can be accepted by people. You see, it's not easy, but it will take time. But they will come up with that, because this is what is happening in the world now. You see, if you want, if you look at South Sudan now, it's not counted anywhere in the world as a country with people. No, because of the system we have established since 2005. You see, a system that responds to people. If you are demonstrating against something bad, you are met with a bullet, like what happened in Wow. You see, so we have to work hard in order to build a system that is similar to what is in the other parts of the world, like in where you are, for instance. You see, where people can demonstrate, where can make a procession to say your opinion loudly. You see, it is a long time for us to come to that, because we have trained ourselves to militarism since the time of the war.
See, Dr. Adwak, I disagree with that statement, saying that, yes, a young boy in the Dinka tribe cannot be chief, but we are no longer just, ruling tribe. We are a country. And if we are a country, every voice matters. Young, girl, woman, old, everyone. It's a collective of the citizen. It's not just chief or young council of elders or whatever can be. I disagree with that as
Okay,
a young South Sudanese. I disagree.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what I'm saying, what you need in position of authority is somebody with knowledge, somebody with experience.
Correct.
Okay? Not somebody because he can be put there because he's young. If he has no knowledge, he will make the worst mistakes, even than an elder can do. Okay? So let us agree that we want people with knowledge, with experience, who can do things, who can manage our affairs. Not just anybody, but people with correct understanding of the situation, social and economic and political situation of the country. These are the people who can manage our affairs.
You're absolutely right. But if those elders fail, because now we will.
No, I'm not talking about elders. Not necessarily
elder.
If you have somebody who is educated,
yes.
Somebody who is educated, a young person, 30 years of old, is educated, has experience. Let's try him. No problem. I have no problem with that. But he should have knowledge. He should be able to understand the issues.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Adwok, I think we are coming to an end with our interview with you today. I want you to tell people of South Sudan what you think would be a suitable system and what you think about this peace, so we don't have to go back, to what happened in 2016.
Yeah, I think the first thing is that we should change our attitudes. We should change our attitudes and come to a situation where we can combat this tribalism, this ethnicity, this provincialism. Mm-hmm. Many of us who are outside now in America, in Australia, you see where you have huge communities of South Sudan, they are organized on the basis of ethnicity. Mm-hmm. And that's really terrible. First, it is a disservice to themselves. It stops them. You attach yourself to a system which you have left here. And instead of attaching yourself to the system where you are and benefit from it, your head is still in South Sudan. So it is you people I'm addressing, that this thing of tribalism must be completely abandoned. Because if you look in the United States, you have people coming from different parts of the world.
Yes.
You see, they work very hard in order to integrate themselves into the economic and social system there and political system. They can become senators also. They can become president, okay, or governors of their states. Instead of wasting their time with what is the kind of situation we are in, because that thing in itself creates it actually, kinds of consolidate the kind of differences that is going on here in South Sudan. So that is one. The other thing is that our leaders, those who call themselves leaders, political party leaders, they should really study the situation and base their policies on knowledge, complete knowledge of the social, economic, and cultural values of our people. Because without that, you will just be talking. Number three is that the system where we struggle for democratic rights and fundamental freedoms. These have to be, people should be able to enjoy and to exercise these freedoms. Because without that, like we have not liberated ourselves. Okay? So these are the three things. And the struggle is not a one-way, it's not a one-day thing. It's a continuous thing. You achieve this today, there is something that we need to achieve further. So these are some of the things which we will be doing in South Sudan. We'll go back and educate our people about our problem. Ethnicity is mutable. Ethnicity is mutable. It is not going to be there indefinitely, forever. Because as your mind changes, your way of thinking changes, as also your productive means change, you see, automatically you change. Your behavior changes. Okay? So these are some of the things we will be working with our people in order really to change the attitude of mind so that we can perceive the reality in the correct way. You see, and we have to combat tribalism. We have to combat all these negativities, social or tribal bigotry, which has been really the problem driving the current conflict in South Sudan. We have to fight it. And the sooner we do that, the better. So that we can now, be like what is happening in other parts of the world. South Sudan is worse now. I mean, the kind of human rights have been trampled upon as if we are not human beings. It's really shame. It's shameful. So that's what I can say, and wish you all the best. Those who
So
are
before you conclude, I have question on the back of my mind. I should have asked you a long time ago. So now, given that the peace is signed and Dr. Machar is going to Juba, in your opinion, do you think Dr. Riek Machar and Salva Kiir, they are going to get along this time? They are not going to shoot themselves and make ordinary South Sudanese die again?
But this is a question you should ask President Salva and Dr. Riek himself, whether they will go, because I am in no position to answer that question. You see? But what I can tell you is that since they have agreed and they hugged themselves yesterday or the day before yesterday, we hope that they continue with that kind of thing. Because these are leaders and people watch them. If they go back on what they have done, it will be really bad for the people of South Sudan. So we hope and pray that they will, go according to the way they have hugged themselves and shaken hands and so on, and promise to the world that there will be no peace again.
Well, Peter Adwoknyaba, the former, Minister of Education, higher education, thank you so much. Yeah, you kunta maana hina for concerned citizens of South Sudan, and thank you for answering my call and being on the show to speak live to the people of South Sudan. I really appreciate you, sir.
Thank you very much, and I thank all of you, and God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Bye.
Dear brothers, sisters, followers of concerned citizens of South Sudan, you have heard, Dr. Adwog Nyaba spoke here with concerned citizens of South Sudan. We asked so many questions, and he's a smart doctor. He was able to answer all the questions. So now, it's your turn, you concerned citizen of South Sudan, to come in also and express your opinion. بشكركم مرة أخرى لانضمامكم ولbeing في this program دائما. As I said from the beginning, and I keep repeating myself every time, this forum is for all South Sudanese. All South Sudanese, all right? So you have right to come here and express your opinion. I don't belong to any organization whatsoever. So please mind, don't insult anyone. We can agree to disagree, that's fine. So thank you so much. Go ahead and send me your request so I can bring you. It look there, I want to bring you live at Tilio Abu Yasmin. Go ahead and send me that request because I know that you're going to go to work very soon. Send me that request at Tilio. Atilio, you are not in the video. Please go ahead and send me that. Because the time will go by. And I know that you'll be going to work very soon. Just write something then, Atilio. Write something. If you are not ready, let me know so I can move to next person here. Because it looks like the time is going by. Okay, so it looks like you are not ready. All right, I'm gonna go for Kwan Malwal at this moment. Kwan, go ahead and answer that.
Where now?
Kwan Malwal, good to see you, brother. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. You have heard Dr. Adwok Nyaba is spoken, and he clarified the way the Nuerli behaving is no longer has nothing to do with Nuer. So go ahead. Faddal.
You know, Kalamu Seme. Kalamu Seme, it was good. But you know, I was a little bit stressed out because the current stage of where we are as a country is so depressing. I mean, I don't care what tribe you happen to be from. At this stage, we are at a tribal line, you could say. Like, if you're Nuer, you act Nuerly, and if you're Denka, you act Denka.
And also, I must say this, Kwan Malwal. So he said that federalism is not good for South Sudan. And he's still a member of IO. Does that mean, and I asked him this question, that IO abandoned the federalism? I want to know.
Well, you know, I'm a Nuer guy, okay?
I know you are a Nuer guy, yes.
I like federal system because it's a way of you give the right to the people and how do they want to be governed.
Okay, I'll bring you Teresa if you send in the question, yes.
And that's the difference is here. The way he sees it, because he sees that every tribe will have the pride of saying, this is what we want as a tribe, and use it against federal system rather than just, which is something similar to the NAS group, you know, where you say, well, you know, we want everyone to go to their own homes, and we can only have some type of exchange.
Correct.
And that's what he was referring to. It's I like Professor. I think he spoke out of his heart, and I love every word that he says. Whether Nuerly behaving, federal system is not going to work. I think it's we know those kind of things as people who happen. Even yourself, you know that. Now, come to my concern is how do we solve this problem? He said that let us go in and then we can solve it. Well, guess what? Other people oppose the ideas of let us go in and oppose it and work within. I like that ideas, but it doesn't work for all of us. And that's why some people like Jongkor will say, well, let us be inclusive. Well, how could you be inclusive when others are not willing to give in? You demand something and you insist that to be. So I was sad by hearing what I heard.
Yeah.
And, you know, as much as I was so humble and optimistic about the outcome, it's depressing. And chances are we can go to another stage of conflicts. And this one here is gonna hurt all of us. It doesn't matter what region you live in. We're all gonna get hurt. And the 15 years FDs were advocating for, it would happen. It would really happen. We will go to regional war, and after the regional war, a third party will come in and govern us, and then hopefully we'll be happy by then. And that's where we're heading. Very sad.
Thank you, Kwan Malwal. Today I have a lot of people I want to, you know, to give anyone an opportunity, you know, let them express their opinion here. So thank you, my brother, you know, for coming on and express your opinion as well. And I may bring you back, you know, if anything, you know, come controversial somehow.
I'm not really behaving yet.
Hey, there is nothing called Nuerli behaving, as he said. You know, this thing's supposed to be within the IO, but for some reason it was leaked out, you know. But I'm glad I asked that question and actually clarified the way for people who misunderstood him, you know.
And I thank you for asking that question, because it was very, I mean, let me just say this. You asked him some really, really good questions. And without taking any side, without being in what particular person you are, you asking as someone who happened to be concerned and wanted to know what's within. And you did. and you know, he was defensive about it.
He's
Very
free. He's a free man. This guy,
right.
guy can speak speak up his mind. That's what I like about him.
All
You
right.
know?
He
Yeah.
was very defensive, and he stated exactly what he wanted to respond in according to your question, and I think he did that very well. But the concern is, those of us who are watching, is what have you seen? I mean, what do you see, given all what you heard? The promising land is not there. There's a lot to it that are in hiding posts,
A lot of
and
challenge.
us sees it. But you know, let us encourage positiveness uh, rather than bitterness. You know, where you want to be bitter about the things. Let us be positive, okay? We know what had happened in the past. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Given all the exchange that we have, do we hope for the worst or we hope for the better? And I'm not going to act early, so I'm going to hope for the better.
Thank you.
uh,
Well, thank you so much, Kwan Malwal. You know, please stick around. Let me go ahead and bring other
thank
South
you.
Sudanese here. No problem. All right, let me go ahead and check here. Oh, yeah, here you go. Your request came in. Let me go ahead. Hello, Teresa.
Salam takon.
Hey, good to see you. Kia ser Neo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lunga ser Leo.
Okay. Now you have heard Dr.
And then I will tell you
Nyaba.
also Mong.
Yeah,
Agolo.
Mong Agolo, yes, has spoken. So, what is your intake, Teresa?
Yeah. First of all, let me thank you for always keeping it real and keeping it alive for the people of South Sudan to come and always discuss.
Correct.
And I want to greet all the people of South Sudan here. I just want to also say hi to Professor Peter. Peter Adwok Nyaba. This is his opinion, and I may disagree with so many of his ideas. And I will go, maybe if you might permit me a little bit to go on some of his points.
Go ahead.
When you ask him about the federalism, the federalism was also part of IO manifesto or whatever you call it. And if he's saying now they abandoned, it seems like the IO abandoned the federalism, meaning the IO was actually using the federalism just to attract some communities to enter to his movement. And I'm so sad, really, because some people die because of that. Some people die because of that. And I want to tell him also that the federal system is the best system, because if our forefathers in 1947 spoken about federal system, and he as a professor of in university in this our time, in this our generation, to saying that the federal system is not good, whereby we can see the good example around the world. Yeah, this is one thing. Number two, when you ask him about the rule of Randit, you know, the rule of Randit, he did not disagree. He was actually accepting that, and I was actually waiting for.
And I disagree with him a lot, because
exactly
it referred me back saying that the little boy in the Dinka land cannot be chief. But well, it's so different being in the Dinka chiefdom than the country of South Sudan. That's why I disagree a lot, you know, with Dr. Nyaba here. So
yes, that's why when we are saying that there is actually no connection between the generations, because Professor, he's supposed to say, yes, this is when you mentioned the example in Addis and also elsewhere about the new generation taking power. He's supposed to say, yes, this is what we want in South Sudan, but he was supporting, even he did not disagree with what the Gen Council too much, meaning he's actually into this kind of rule of Randit. And this is actually what destroying our country, because we need new generation. And he, as a professor in this of his age, he's supposed to say, we should give the new generation the take, and we will stay back as advisors. This is what I was expecting from him, but he fell on that. And I want to tell him that we are new generation. We cannot be kept captive of past. We are in 2018.
I will, Don. I will. Go ahead.
Yes. And about the opposition, when he said those people there, he is wondering about that. This peace agreement, as even when you ask him about the troika and about the IGAD, some of the IGAD country and so forward did not sign as the guarantees. And then he said the South Sudanese will be the guarantee. How could a South Sudanese people who got killed by this very regime to guarantee this government, this agreement? And most of them, they are living in camps, and some of them are living in exile. How are you going to guarantee? This is, I think, a professor here, in my opinion, he has failed because he did not actually put something clear. Here, if you come to the position that did not sign, is I think USDA by Mr. Gatwich and NDM.
Yeah, I forgot.
Yes. And Emmanuel Ajuin, he's also Aban or Ajuin, he's of the NDM, and you have the FDs, and this is Pagana Mom, and you have also NAS by General Thomas, and so forth. So if we are saying the root cause of the war, root cause who actually caused the war in South Sudan, it's not actually because the Nuer were killed, but because of lack of good leadership, governing system. Yes, this is what we are saying, that the federal system will fit us. You see, with federal system will fit us in our situation. And that's why we're looking into that, because we don't have an independent judiciary, because we don't have a separation between the system. This is what actually is lacking our country, and lead to what? To the killing of people without any accountability. This is actually the root cause. The root cause because we don't have system in place. The SPLM party has failed. And you ask him about, so this government now, what shall we call this government? He said this is government of South Sudan. No, this is government of SPLM IO and SPLM IG. This is what I can say. My brother Jongkor, let me give time to some people. If you have another question, you can go and ask me. If not, I'm here because my time is up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Teresa, for coming on. Please stick around. People may, ask questions about NAS later, and then if that requires you to come back and answer that, you are more than welcome. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, my brother Kurkuju also is there. He might also elaborate a little bit because I'm in rush. I have something to do. God bless you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, let me go ahead here. Yeah, Jama, hey, Zol, sending your request. I don't favor anyone. I don't favor Teresa. I don't favor anyone else. You all, this is your forum, and you have a right to come and speak. You have a right to come and speak, my dear brothers and sisters. So now, go ahead and send in your request, and you are more than welcome. So if you are not ready, let me know. I can go to the next person. I know I have long list here. Hello. Hey.
How
are you, Charles?
Asma.
Good to see you.
Asma, I'm good. Asma, best can you give me like Asafi Mersa?
No problem.
School drive.
Yeah, I can give you time.
Just give me like 10 minutes and then I'll call you back, okay?
No problem. Thank you, Charles.
Because I'm picking the kids right now.
Sure. Let me go ahead here. Yeah, Jama, send in your requests, my dear brothers and sisters. All right, I do see that. Dora Boon, I didn't see your request. Please send me your requests. You are all welcome, Jama. Send in your requests. I can bring you in. Okay, let me go for Dr. Francis. Dr. Francis, I'm calling you right now.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dr. Francis. Good to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you. These muse is actually very difficult.
Yeah, he knows a lot. I'm trying, to go back and forth with him. So, give me your insight. You have heard all the entire interview. What do you
Yeah,
think?
actually, yeah, thank you for this great opportunity. And I would like to congratulate the people of South Sudan for the peace that was signed, although people are divided into two camps. Some people, they say it will not work. But also, I understand their concern, actually, because whenever you get yourself in a trouble, and then the same things, you fear that it may repeat itself, actually. But let us hope that it will work out. So I do agree with the professor in some of the point that he has made. First of all, the issue of federalism, because actually, although it is within the agreement, actually, so in the agreement they talk about the federalism in two parts. So there is an introduction. They talk about it. They talk
Yes.
about 20 points that should be considered in terms of making the constitutions in that regard. So the other thing, the issue that the SPLM was calling for the federalism, it was just only for political consumption, actually, because so the government and the IO, they were competing. Everybody want to create more states so that actually it can get more supporters, because the politicians, they are craving for power. And this is the only way that you can be able to get more people to support you. So it was just only a ticket to be used until so that you can get more supporters. Yeah, in terms of the development, I don't expect that the current government, they would be able to do any development, because actually whatever they have is already exhausted. They might limit their end. There is nothing any good can come. But the good things for here, my brother Jongkor, and especially for the youth of South Sudan, is an opportunity that they could be able to form a unified army. They could be able to build the institutions. So they talk about the judiciary. They talk about the reform within the national security. If they manage to do that one, and they talk about elections, the election is only good thing that can come out from this agreement. Why? Because we can't. You don't expect that Adwognyaba is an old man to come and say, okay, you guys, you come and we give you. It's never going to happen. You see, because
He threw
so
it back.
actually,
Actually,
because
I asked the question. He threw it back to me. When
yeah,
I said that,
yeah,
how
actually
come?
he has going to support his own generation, actually, because actually, otherwise he's writing a death certificate for himself as a politician. You see, and therefore those elders, if you ask any elderly people that would you welcome any new generation to come and take over, they would say definitely they would not agree with you with that. And therefore, for us of the youth, we don't need even their blessings. So we have to work hard so that we can be able to take over the power, and they become our advice if they want. If they don't want, let them stay there. We give them their retirement. But how we can achieve this objective? Okay, because you talk about, like, for example, the example of Mabur. Mabur is politically immature, actually, and that one could not be the good representative of the youth by then. So most of the people who were in the government, they are not. So we, the South Sudanese, 72% of the South Sudanese, they use. Okay, so this one is up to 30 years. From 30 years down, if you subtract those people who are not eligible for voting, for example, the 18, and then you just push a little bit up to 45, for example, this one we would be able to form something like 70 or 60%. 60% we have our own parent also. So you have your dad or your mom, if they are alive. If you can be able to convince them, we could be able to have a majority with the vote. And therefore, the challenge that we are having is how to organize the youth in one forum, in one political party, and we push this all mosaic out, and then we can be able to implement any idea, any reform that we want in a healthy matter. Otherwise, if we just continue talking and talking and don't go into action, this guy, actually, they will not give you any chance for you to go into the government. So the only way is we use these elections, the coming election, to organize ourselves. We support all the youth, and then we can be able to mobilize even the women and some special group. They can be able to vote for us, and we bring only one candidate so that they can come and make a reform. So our main challenge right now is how to organize ourselves. This is the main problem. There is another point that Teresa just made, actually. So she was saying actually because she disagree with Professor Adwork in some point that he made. Disagreement, it doesn't mean failure, because the people disagree actually. Even right now, for them, they disagree with the agreement, and therefore they did not support the agreement. So it doesn't mean failure actually that the professor has failed. We have just disagreed. So Teresa has just disagreed with the professor in a certain point. So my message to the youth of South Sudan, we need to organize ourselves, and we take the advantage of the statistic that is our side instead of waiting for those Muse to give us an opportunity so that we can cap up. They will never do that. Even you remember last time in your show here, somebody asked Comrade Pagana Moom about why you are not involving the youth. What did he say? He said actually when we went to the bush, we were not invited. So you guys never expect that somebody will come and invite you to come in the power. So you have going to do your own homework by organizing yourself and then go for election and push them out.
Yes.
That is my point.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Francis. Wrap it up. It was a very good point that you have made, good perspective, good insight. Let me go ahead and give opportunity to other people, and please stick around. I need you.
Yeah, I'm around. There is no problem.
Because there's a lot of things here, we wanted to tackle together. So thank you so much, and be there. Let me go ahead and call other South Sudanese here who are been waiting. Thank you. So, my dear brothers and sisters, yes, the list is so long. Let me go ahead and see who's next. I tell you, I don't know. You are working. What's going on? I don't understand. But yes, Dora Boone, you didn't send in any requests, but I'm really, really interested to hear from you. I wanted to hear from you. But first, let me go ahead and see and bring Chankwat, get Marana. Chankwat, if you are available there, you can go ahead and answer that. We need your insight as well. Chankwat?
What's up, man? How you doing?
It seemed like you are ready, Chankwat.
Oh, well, I had to.
Yeah. Go ahead,
just
brother.
go home, and I had to leave my work early so that I can come and watch Dr. Adwork.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you. He's not an easy guy, man. I tried to push him here and push him there, but hey, he knows how to get away with the thing.
Well, well, you've already said that he's an independent thinker, so I think he's true to that. All right. Look, Brother Jongkor, let me say thank you for the show. It was a great show. I actually enjoyed it. I was anticipating this show, and that's why I had to leave work early, to come and watch it. I will not probably take long. I'll just highlight some few things that I've heard from Dr. Adwork, and then I'll cap it off with what I think. All right. Brother Jongkor, in terms of the peace that we are having at the moment, there is no guarantee. You have seen one of my comments. I've said that whether this peace is going to hold or not, we are not guaranteed yet. Sometimes past experiences can erode, the future positives. We might think about tomorrow as positive, but because of the past experience that we have seen,
yes,
it will always linger in our mind, and we will always say something wrong will happen. But let's hope and pray that our people are not going to go back to the same sins that we have witnessed. Let's hope that this will be the last of the war, and then we will enjoy peace. On my behalf, I will not guarantee nothing in terms of this peace, because I believe we are dealing with people that we have come to see over the last 5 years as liars. They lie to us today. They pretend in front of everyone, and then whatever they will be doing behind the scene is something else.
Different.
So that is why I'm saying this peace is not guaranteed yet until when we see, the implementation part of that. Signing document is nothing, but implementing that peace is actually what we need. So let me go to the next point.
Yes.
Which is the statement made by Dr. Adwork Nyaba about behaving nearly.
Yeah, nearly behaving.
I don't know who took it in a bad way, but for me, I receive it with gladness.
Me too.
Yes, I receive it with gladness because I'm Nuer. I was born Nuer. I will never go back, in my mother's womb and become somebody else.
Unless you have to
Yeah.
act like a Jewish man, Nicodemus, who asked Jesus, "Do you mean that I have to go back to my mother and be born again?" Go ahead.
Well, those eras for Jesus are gone, man. So
go ahead, continue.
All right, look, I'm proud to be Nuer and I'm proud to be a South Sudanese, and so we are all proud of our ethnicities. But we can no longer use our tribal base, our ethnicity, as a point of destroying South Sudan. We have to move fast enough now to make sure we discourage ourselves from using our tribal base as a tool to destabilize South Sudan.
Yes.
So let me go back to that quote of Dr. Adwog Nyaba.
Yeah.
It is not a bad statement. I think everybody should receive it with gladness because every tribe in South Sudan have got their own behaviors, as they have pointed out. Some of the behaviors are good and some of the behaviors are bad as well,
And actually he made it clear. He said, Nuer, they are the only people, if they want to fight you, they will come and say, hey, I'm going to fight you.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I was trying to get into. Sometimes, people can perceive your way of life as a bad thing. But until when they come to live with you so that they can be able to know who you are really. So for me, I think somebody that tells you I will fight you tomorrow is somebody that believes in their own powers. They believe that they will not give up, and they believe that they will do whatever it takes, to be victorious. So that's why I'm saying this is not a bad statement. It is a good statement. On the other side as well, it's a good statement that will also, maybe change the status of how we approach things. So people should look at it in a positive way. So let me go now to the point of federalism. The federal system is not abandoned by IO.
Okay.
Okay. Let me tell you, IO have not abandoned the point of federalism. It is still within the documents. If I refer you to the peace, remember this is just a resuscitated peace agreement. Okay? So whatever we agreed in the first agreement, which was the Addis Ababa 2015 agreement, it is still active. Okay? It is still active. The current one is the resuscitated form of it. The current one that we are signing or that we have just witnessed being signed will always be added to the first one that we signed in Addis in 2015. So both agreements will work hand in hand, and none of those agreement will be left out. In the first agreement, the federal system was clearly identified as the main system that we should use in South Sudan. Also, in the current form of agreement, which was enacted in Khartoum, there is also part and section that clearly identify that South Sudan should be ruled under, federal system. But I understand who are these people that are now coming to play down the credibility of federal system. These are a strange group that want to make IO look as if they have actually betrayed certain individuals. And this is something that we cannot, that we cannot allow to exist, Brother Jongkor, because there are people now within different factions that want to come and say, as Mayol have indeed abandoned the federal system. So for me, what I know very well so far in the document that I've read in the peace agreement, the federal system still exists. And then lastly, there was a good point that Dr. Adwong Nyaba mentioned. He have said that all these things that we are talking about cannot be practiced unless we have peace. They cannot be put in place unless we have peace. Remember, we need to go back into a peaceful environment where we can actually enact all these, articles that have been enshrined in the current agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Failure to have peace, it will mean that we cannot have federal system. We cannot have democracy that we are looking for. That means we will not reform South Sudan if there is no peace. So I think all of us should, whether we have doubt in this peace, whether we like this peace or whether we don't like it. Personally, I might have my own reservation and I might not like it. But does it give us this current window of opportunity to actually bring our people back to South Sudan and let us encourage dialogue and peace? Yes, it does. Whether I like it or whether I don't like it, it is a high chance for us to encourage ourselves to behave in a manner that can actually enhance that peace.
Thank you.
I'm seeing now, Brother Jongkor, there are certain factions within our political arenas that doesn't want this peace. Okay? The question is, where will they be heading to as of now? Are they going to take up arms and encourage more rebellion and more fightings, or they are going to join us one by one? Personally, as Jongkor, I might not like this peace 100%, Brother Jongkor. But if it gives me an opportunity to talk to my fellow South Sudanese, to encourage them to behave in a manner of a nationhood, then so be it. So be it. My question to everybody, especially those those people of NAS, those people of is it NDM, right?
NDM, PDM.
Yes. Mm-hmm. My question to them is that we are all South Sudanese.
And United Republic Movement.
Yes.
Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah, so my question to them as I conclude, Brother Jongkor, is that we have seen now SPLM Mayol and some of the parties gearing us toward the path of peace. Whether this is going to be a lasting peace or not, we cannot predict, the future. Let the future work for itself, but let us try our best to go forward in the path of peace. The question that I want these groups to answer, if they have agency here, is that what is it that they are going to take, what is it that they are going to do now? Because they are critics of this peace now. What are the steps forward from today? Are they going to, to seek help from somewhere so that they will be armed and then South Sudanese will, continue to fight? Or are they going to join us one by one toward peace? I want them to clearly tell to the people of South Sudan what is the objective from here now. So, because peace has been signed.
Thank you. Actually, later I'm gonna bring in Sunday John, and also Gurkujo is here. I'm going to bring him to clarify because he's a NAS member. So thank you so much, Jongkor, for being on and having your perspective heard as well. So please stick around. Actually, one of the NAS will come, not now, but it will come after the guest that is coming right now. So thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you. Thank you, Brother Jongkor. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
Yes, sound production producer coming.
Okay, let me go ahead and bring in Sunday of SSUF and Gurkuju. I'm gonna bring you as well, Tongjang, and everybody else. We have time. Please don't feel boring. You will come. Sunday Dijon, I'm calling you right now. Sunday Dijon, go ahead and answer that. And Charles, if you are back also, just indicate that to me. Sunday, it looks like it's not loading. I don't know what's going on. Okay. Go ahead and answer that. So it looks like Sunday is not answering. Go ahead and refresh your device. Let me go ahead and call the next person here. Atilio is not giving me an option to call you actually. I don't know why. Just send in the request. Sometimes if the camera is not on, it can be the problem too. So I'm going back to you, Emmanuel. Emmanuel Dijon, I'm calling you right now. There's something wrong with Emmanuel. It's Sunday. And also, Atilio, I don't get an option to call you. So send me a request, please, if you are able. Okay, now you work for Tongjang because I try Sunday Dijon, I try Atilio, it's not working. So welcome on board, Tongjang, Nyandeng, Tongjang. It's good to see you, brother-in-law. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. And I know that you have heard my interview with Dr. Adwak Nyaba.
Thank you. I was in class and I knew that I did not want to miss, and that's why I came now. I got a half of it, but this is very good. Thank God you brought Edward Nyaba, and Edward Nyaba is one of very few living testimony in a political between Riek Machar and Kir 1991, 2013 until now. In all detail in South Sudan. But there are sensitivity when someone tell what actually need to be tell and what kill our people. I saw early some very sensitive, disgruntled politician jamming in a dog neck. Oh, this a dog fell. That's wrong. And those are attitude Dr. Nyaba called it nearly in Iowa at the time. I seen those things come out now in the NAS. Every time. Top decision in the NAS should not attack anyone. That's the dictatorship with the Kir. And that's why gun is going off.
I hope you are
And
not going to. I hope you are not going to attack someone, Tongjang.
No.
Okay.
No. And that's the reason we take up arm against Khartoum. Don't ever tell anyone. Don't mention someone's name. Attack ideology, what you think is missing. Federalism, federal system in South Sudan is not going to work. Let me repeat it. And IO are smart to abandon that. That's why they don't have no forces. Federalism can be interpreted. This tribe will not go to that tribe. Adwok Nyaba was so clearly and correct. Thomas Chirillo will never have no forces in other tribe area. When you say federal system, so just recruit your Equatorial soldiers and recruit Denga and Riek Machar recruit Nuer. This you're gonna divide people and you're not gonna have no people. It's dangerous. Play another card. What Machar fell, what Kir fell, then you get everybody. But if you're gonna say you're gonna this federal system have very dangerous implication and repercussion who are very dangerous. Sensitivity, like right now, if someone criticize how Tom Material thing, oh, because Tom Material is not a Denga, oh, Tom Material is not a Nuer. If you criticize Kir, oh, because Kir is a Denga, you guys are racist. Let me be careful here. NAS, IO, IG, pointing fingers, failure of that, and then you get dissatisfied people like John Garang done it. One Sudan, New Sudan, got people in the Blue Nile. If you now saying that you need regional system, Upper Nile, Barakazal, you're not going to get troops in the Barakazal. And people like Kurukujo in the Barakazal, I don't think they will achieve any agenda of NAS. Do not say you're going to have 3 region system that our grandparents talked in 1947. They were demanding federal system so Khartoum will leave and South Sudan will come out. Not Equatoria, not Barakazal, not Upper Nile. NAS need to get this correct. Otherwise, you're gonna have heavy monkey in your back. You're gonna end up with Equatorial forces only, like Iowa have majority ethnic Nuer. Why you want to do that mistake? I'm not mentioning anybody name. Adwok Nyaba is one of very few men. This kind of elders, I support something called Southern Sudan Council of Elders. Every tribe bring their own elders. Kir Mayar is not young, Riek Machar is not young, Thomas Chirilo are not young. If you bring every oldest man from any tribe and meet the man of his people, even 100 years old, I have no problem. What we don't want here is a dictatorship. Putting an older, he don't know what standard and what vision for a young or grandchild. That's disgusting, and that's contradict the reason we take up a gun in the first place against Khartoum. Older doing his brain is working, doing it was right for people of South Sudan. I don't. Dr. Nyaba come from kingdom like Shuluk, where the older man wise doing what is good. I have no problem here. This peace, euphoria, Riek Machar and Kir going to work. I wish you all good luck. Let them go and doing their thing. I will remain and I will be convinced when I saw the peace, no another bullet. This being my position from day one, there is no peace here. They will fight again. And I hope it's not the case. I wish them to to prove me wrong. In the name of peace, I don't want to lie, and that's the end of my thing. Bring someone else.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, from Yang Nyandeng, for your contribution. Please stick around. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. Where is Mr. Kurkuja, Jama? Kurkujo, go ahead and fix your camera, dear, so I can bring you in. Try to fix it so you can give me an option here to call you. Atilio, your camera is not okay. Kurkujo, your camera is not okay. It's not allowing me actually to call you guys. So let me try Emmanuel again. I hope now it's allowing me to call you, but I hope the network will work for you. Okay, finally work. Emmanuel Dijon, good to see you, brother. I have tried many times to call you, but actually was not going through. So welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. You have heard the interview with Dr. Adwok Nyaba. He has spoken. The man is free. He can say anything come to his mind, and he knows what he's talking about. So what is your insight? And I apologize for not mentioning SUDF, actually, because it was questioned on the back of my mind, but unfortunately, I forgot to ask him that question. Because I was going to ask what IO is doing to bring those brothers who are out of that deal, Chirilo and Paul Malongao. But unfortunately, I didn't ask that question.
Thank you very much, Brother Jongkor, for this opportunity once again, and especially at this particular hour, so that I come and share with you and the rest of the audience on matters pertaining the Republic of South Sudan. And especially after a rubber stamp kind of peace has been signed somewhere in Addis Ababa. On the issue of the talk of Professor Adwok Nyaba, I have heard about his statements, and that is not the usual Adwok. This can tell some people in parts that peace is amidst, but that is not true in real sense. Adwok has refused to speak his mind. Just some times ago, he came to our camp and he demanded that we surrender to Juba because Juba has defeated everyone. And we just laughed, telling him that Juba has not defeated anyone, perhaps yourself. So that soft position of Adwok Nyaba is not commensurate with his first statement when he left from Rumbek after he escaped from Juba on the burial of a colleague that died, and then made his way out from Rumbek to Uganda. The first article he authored was Kir shot himself at the put. So we do not have to blame elders of Adwok's caliber. They can no longer sustain the hardship after they have acquired the country. And it was a mistake in the first place to dislodge elders as old as Adwok from their homes and send them to the bush. They are no longer a bush quality because they have done their part and their agenda was heard, and they eventually ended up bringing a country called South Sudan to the people of South Sudan. Therein, mismanagement by his colleagues and himself included should not be a cause of him being in the bush, because the bush is painful, and the time he has spent, even if he could have savings, they might have gone. It is us who have never saved anything and who are not interested in surrendering that would still remain in the bush. But if it means we will eat shrubs and the roots of trees around our bushes. So for the case of Adwak, I do not have many words. I should only bless him so that he remain there as an elder to give us his voice at the time of need and encourage us to be a good society. That is for Adwak. Now let's come to the real issues. And perhaps you have to start.
Yes, I have to start. I already interviewed him and he gave his answer. But now, SSUF being left out and National Salvation Front, what is the step from here? What are you doing? Because the government already said that, oh, those guys are weak. They cannot defeat me. They can not do anything. They are just a brother. We're going to go ahead and extend our hand to them, and they will join the camp later. Is that the status that we are in right now, Dr. Sanjay?
Thank you again for the question. That's not the status that we are in. The truth is, the NAS was a participant to the peace agreement, but the grievances that have led to the continuous conflict in the country have not been addressed. The whole thing was an imposed kind of deal that was meant actually to benefit the entities such as Uganda and Sudan in the oil sector particularly, and the gold and other minerals in the country. So there is nothing beneficial from the peace agreement that has been signed that would worry South Sudan United Front. It is just a time bomb. It is a status quo made to bring together the oppositions and the bitter enemies that will eventually converge in Juba and start a new fight again. Let me tell you, for South Sudan United Front, Kir has objected to allow our participation in the peace process because nobody knows him better than the leadership of South Sudan United Front. And basing on those peers, he has opted to use his influence in the region to curtail our participation because we have the capacity to unearth or unturn all the stones, which would be to his dismay and a permanent collapse, of course, of his regime. So he opted to say SAP should not participate, and he opted to do anything in his disposal, and especially the resources of South Sudanese people, to stop us from participation just because of fear. If you look at the nature of the peace agreement that was signed in Addis Ababa, finally, it does not address the concerns of the people. Imagine from the time of Dr. John Garang to recent time, Equatorians have solely been represented by James Wani Iga. And James Wani Iga has not met the aspirations of the Equatorian people. He has been redundantly a mouthpiece that does not add or create value to the lives of Equatorian people. And therefore, the grievances pertaining Equatoria were not addressed. And that is the advent of Equatorian rebellion. That's the basis of Bakasoro's rebellion. It is also the basis of Thomas Rilo rebellion and many others, because they have unaddressed grievances. Now, if you look at it keenly, after designating some positions for the vice presidencies, still Wani remain in the representation of Equatoria, yet he has nothing to offer. Do you think Thomas Rilo will desire to walk to Juba simply because he will be represented in the same capacity by the same Wani who does not produce results? Not at all. He has a case also that needs to be addressed. The case is pertinent. He has called for federalism and many other national matters that need to be considered for the good of South Sudan. Eventually, they have not been addressed. and it became a walkover. So his pertinent point is apparent that he will not be in a position to go to Juba as soon as people may desire to see. If you look keenly at that piece, people like Bakosoro, even if they are presumed to might have signed, there is something called practical aspect of a matter and the theoretical aspect. Looking from that angle, these people are not practical, they are just theoretical. And there is no theory that would translate to tangible results. It's just a mental job. So it has not encompassed the interests of Equatorian, the current peace, and the likelihood of continued fighting would be there apparently, undeniably. More so, South Sudan United Front, as you have mentioned, that we have been left out. We are not love learning. We are not anti-peace. We don't have any problem with the peace that has been signed, provided that it's actually sustainable and it gives South Sudanese the aspirations that they have been aspiring for the time immemorial. The truth is, South Sudan United Front has objectives, and our objectives are constant and they have to be implemented through the national scheme that we will chart out ourselves. It is not going to be done by Kir. And having left us out is not equal to peace, because the peace will not be inclusive. We will irritate for our rights. Those other people that have been left out will irritate for their rights. And all these rights are not individualistic. General Paul Malong, the chairman of my movement, is not interested in what we call elites dividing positions among themselves. That is not his common interest. So his common interest is the total overhaul of a regime that has devastated the lives of South Sudanese people. And mechanisms are simple. We have not desired to kill a South Sudanese person of whatever type or whatever ethnic line. But we have a mechanism that we will put in place to dislodge Kir from further destruction of the country within a time frame that we will stipulate and that everybody will know. That is it. I think you have a question.
I have a question. And now you mentioned time frame. I am interested. What is that time frame is going to be? Because we have heard so many things that are going on with your organization, and we haven't seen any move to remove Kir from the power. And the other question that I wanted to add as well. Now that you have NDM and you have FDs, Paganamon, Wings, and you have National Salvation, and you have SSUF, does that mean those political organizations are going to unite and come with one voice to confront what's going on in Juba? What it is? Because, like I said, some people actually they are saying that, oh, those small organizations, they will be overrun, and that's the language that I have been seeing. That, well, I am for peace and I want peace to prevail in the country, but it has to be inclusive, involving all the brothers and sisters in the country. So go ahead and answer my question, because we are running out of time.
Well, you see, successful people do not necessarily rush. If anybody is thinking that we will do things in a hit and run manner, that is not the organization of the leadership that I am under. We are an organized entity that works step by step. The day we will pop up, you will see us in a big way. And we have been asking our audience, including the people who would pose questions like what you're doing now, to contain their impatience so that they can wait for what we will put in place. We are self-sufficient. The idea of calling these and that entities as minor or small entities is completely belittling to the person who usually classify them that way. We are a big entity. Where does Kir come from? We come from that place that Kir comes from. And who is he? After he has failed people back there to actually be the scapegoat of any mistakes being done by him, that he would attract their support. Not at all. The support is with us. And if you talk of Kir background, that background is usually has. And after all, he has been left alone. And that is why he is trying to augment his position by bringing in the mercenaries from Uganda and Sudan. If at all he has support from whom, why did he run to Bashir and give away our oil? Why did he run to Museveni and give away our minerals? Just because he has lost the ground. That is why he's acting like that. And this is before we could even start a thing or two. The sooner we start, he will remain with one or two people, and he will be subjugated in a way that would reflect his leadership was solely a damage to himself, but not the people he is around, he is living around with. Kindly, you have asked whether we will unite with the other factions and forge one common ground that we will use now to face the government in Juba. Truly, unity is not something that anybody can refuse. We have extended this unity matter to all the parties, including Thomas Cirillo. He is aware of that. We are not rejecting any South Sudanese to merge with us or to cooperate with us independently, perhaps on a cooperation basis, and achieve one goal. We have called for that unity and we are seriously for it. We don't have problem. Our objective is to remove Kir from power and give South Sudanese the total freedom they deserve. Because if a leader has gone too low to bring in mercenaries to defend him so that he remain in power for time immemorial or everlastingly, the outcome are his love for the country has waned. It has ended. Kindly, Kir is no longer as patriotic as the very Kir we knew from the Intifada days. Therefore, he has to go. And because he is not ready to go, we will have to push him. And we are for it. And we are urging all the other parties to rally with South Sudan United Front to go on with this so that this man could be asked to go home. We don't even want to harm him. He has to go to his home village and remain there like any other village elder. Who is he to send everybody home and remain in the city
Dr. Sunday,
trying to mess everything up?
Dr. Sunday, I must ask this question. You say that you have ability to remove Kir from the power. But at the same time, don't you think that Kir have maintained ground, has become more stronger than ever? Because right now, he's getting even those members who joined you. For instance, Tilar. Tilar was a potential to become part of SSUDF. But all of a sudden now, Tilar in Juba. So what are you talking about here? Kir is gaining ground actually by pulling people from your organization. Don't you think that that's the case right now?
Well, if Kir has gained an individual, that is not equivalent to destruction of South Sudan United Front. For your information, Tilar is not in Juba. Tilar is resting in his house with his family. And we are not interested in discussing him because he is not a threat to us and he is not destroying us in any way. Therefore, he has just gone on personal invitation as extended to him by Kir when he sent his presidential advisor to come and talk with Tilar so that they go and talk on other matters. Point blank, South Sudan United Front is as strong as it used to. There is nothing like we are being weakened by Kir. If Kir has taken one person, in the other month it's not Tilar, it could be other people. And if he has taken those two people, we had new membership that is being joined by people from within his camp. As big as major generals, as big as lieutenant general coming into our camp. We are not losers in any way. Therefore, we have no feeling that we have been weakened whatsoever the case. Only that we are preparing, and preparations are not supposed to be in a rush. You will be able to actually tie a screw wrongly. So we have to tie the screws rightly so that they can take us to the distance that we think we should reach. there is nothing like war declaration until now. That is not the mechanism we are putting around. But the truth is, Kir will go, and he will have to.
Okay, last question, Dr. Sunday. I have heard is speculation, rumors. I don't know if they are true or not, but you will be the one that give the correct answer. That actually the government attempted to send individual to meet with Paul Malone to bring him to Juba as a brother. He sent, even though I hear that he sent the First Lady and many, many more. What is the conclusion of that?
That is falsehood. It is not true. We have never met a single government delegation. What the government has done is that they have gone too low, that they go and contact maybe relatives of a member of South Sudan United Front and buy one ticket for one of them and tell them to go and contact their sons and daughter. That's a mechanism that will not work. There is nothing like somebody who was sent to us by Kir. If at all there was one, it would be just a kind of a rumor mongering aspect. But a real member from Kir leadership sent to our territory has not come. Eventually, we are not also soliciting for it. If they are keeping themselves without peace being called for here and there, no problem. We are going to handle the matters that we think are of concern in a manner that we deem reliable. And we're going to do that as soon as possible.
Dr. Sanjay Dijon, the spokesperson of SSUF, thank you so much, for being on our show and answering some questions here and have your respect, your perspective heard. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Jongkor.
Thank you.
Tell the audience everywhere
Thank you. You have a wonderful night. That was Sunday John, the spokesperson of SSUF, and spoke on our program today. So I welcome you one more time, my dear brothers and sisters, viewers of Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Go ahead and send in your requests, and we go from there. Everybody, have right to be heard. Send me your requests. Let me go ahead and see here who are those. Send me requests. All right. The list is long. So actually, this time is for Kurukuju. I don't see him. I don't know what happened. But I'm trying my best here at Jama. I don't want to leave anyone out. Let's continue. So Kurkuja is not there, Charles is not there. Let me go ahead and call someone who requested here. I'm trying hard, my brothers and sisters, trying really hard. I know for Attilio it's not working. Attilio, I suggest that you turn off your phone completely. Just go ahead and turn it off completely and come back. I think it will work because now I cannot call you and I'm really interested. I want to bring you, I want to hear your perspective. Turn off your phone, please. Off course, you know, Tuch send me a request too. Just go ahead and send me a request. Actually, I'll bring you in. Kurkuja, I see you here, but you are not sending it. I cannot call you. I don't know what happened. But let me call this guy, Jada Bara. I don't know if your internet will work because last time I tried to call you, it didn't work. So you declined, Jada. So no problem. Let me go ahead and. Here we go. So Emmanuel Jawin, I'm going to go ahead and try you because you are one of the people that signed the document saying that this peace is not sustainable. All right. Emmanuel Jawin of NDM, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan.
Salamat.
What a
Salamat. Salamat, Jongkor. How are you doing?
Good, good.
You surprised me. I was even like looking. I was just paying attention somewhere on the phone.
Oh, okay.
How are you doing?
I am doing great. So, were you watching the program? Did you listen to?
No, I did not. I did not. Unfortunately, sorry, I was so busy, Ustaz. I did not get a chance to watch it from the beginning. But I just came. I got some interventions from our. I think Uncle Professor Dognyaba, who was talking, our uncle.
Yes.
I wish I would have listened, but I actually missed it. So
he did really well.
I just came home.
Yeah, he did
I know.
Really well.
I know.
He's very smart.
He's an old seasoned politician and a very articulate man. So I knew people will learn a lot from him. And he says his opinion is straightforward as it is. You know, he wouldn't mince his words.
So now, just to to get on the side of the time, I read a statement actually. The statement that you part of it of that signatory, the NAS National Salvation. And FD, wing of Paganamom, and United Republic Movement, and also PDM, Dr. Hakim Dario, and you, Emmanuel Aban Ajawin of NDM. Sir, why you didn't sign? What's going on?
Why we didn't sign the letter you have, or why we didn't sign the peace agreement?
Why you didn't sign the peace agreement? Why you refused?
Thank you, Jongkor. I think this is a pertinent question, and it's very important for our audience to know what really took place. There are two two stories to this. I will try to look first on the regional dimension of the agreement. Then I will go also on the internal dimension of the agreement. Now, if you look on the external part of it, which is the regional, and to be specific, the role of Uganda and the role of Sudan on the peace agreement. You recall back in May when I was part of the delegation of NDM when we were in Addis Ababa, and we reached the impasse at that time. The meeting was adjourned. And we heard from sources that there was been a liaising between Kampala and Uganda to really call for a meeting between President Salva Kiir and Riek Machar. So that is why the sudden meeting of so-called the magic shake, the magic handshake took place in Addis Ababa between President Kiir and Riek Machar. All of us were surprised at what is going on when we started back in December on the issue of revitalization. Everybody was included. Now, why is the agreement now being confined to two leaders, which is Riek and Salva? Now, the understanding which we had is this: Sudan is in a dire economical situation.
Correct.
The economy is in tatters, and therefore they need money. Uganda too, with the war going on in the country, this has affected them so much because Uganda used to have almost $400 million US, I think, a year as part of the economical activities of the Ugandans within South Sudan. They have to be. There's a gentleman agreement between Sudan and Uganda to normalize their relations, but at the same time to have an influence on South Sudan. The Sudanese government, of course, sent a high delegation to Juba to meet with the president in Juba with Kiir. What was discussed was Sudan was interested in the oil so that they could start having some input in the economy.
Yes.
This, of course, Kiir agreed to it. Sudan said they had 1.2 billion debt that is owed to them by the government of Juba. These are the debt, the back payment. Kiir agreed that they will pay for it. Also, Sudan talked about, the damages that was done to the Heglig in 2012. Also, Kiir assured them that this will be sorted out. Plus also the $3 billion US dollars that was promised by the government in Juba at that time, that because of separation of South Sudan, the economy of North has been affected, and therefore it will be paid. So literally, our government in Juba, or the government of Kiir in Juba, agreed to pay no less than 5 or 6 billion US dollars to Sudan as part of the oil deal. This is, of course, will be taken from the oil that is pumping now. This is when Khartoum came, when the file was transferred to Khartoum, and Khartoum started using pressure. On the other hand, Riek was informed that, look, if you don't go along with this is our national interest. And the government of Sudan, some of them were quoted saying that they're not a charitable organization, they're a country with a national interest. So anybody who is against their national interest will either have to leave their territories, or they will deport them to Juba, or take Riek to South Africa. Riek he didn't have much option but to go along. That's why you see the issue of oil was actually annexed to the issue of security arrangement. And all of us were completely, wondering, how does a security arrangement have an oil dimension? But this is what Sudan wanted. They wanted to guarantee that an agreement is signed where their oil and interest is protected. As we speak, the oil fields now, Sudan has deployed a very heavy military units in the oil field personnel to ensure that the flow of oil is unhindered. So the flow of oil is unhindered, therefore they will recoup back, their money, from our oil. So our country resources is being looted. Literally, is a daylight robbery, and we don't even know how much is being pumped out. Uganda too has already have an interest in South Sudan. It's known. It's an open secret to all of us. So South Sudan has become a protectorate of Uganda and Sudan. Now, most of us has refused this. We cannot be fighting for independence for over 50 years. At the end of our independence, we give our sovereignty to our neighbors, where we become a protectorate for this country. So Sudan is literally becoming a Congo, where the regions are fighting to loot its resources. We refuse to be part of this political drama that is being played by Juba and being endorsed by Khartoum. Now, this is on the regional dimension. On the internal dimension of the issues, first of all, we don't believe that Kiir has a political will to implement the agreement. Kiir has many occasions has expressed that he will not work with Riek. The only time he has agreed to work with Riek, it is because Khartoum and others have threatened him that if he doesn't do so, they will support the opposition. So you could see that there is no political will. Now, if you look at the agreement substantively, all of us who have been in the opposition all along, we have been demanding for institutional reform in the country and overhaul of the whole system, so that our country could start having a stability, economic stability, social and political stability. If you look at this agreement, it's only talking about power sharing. It's not talking about responsibility sharing. And when we were in Addis, we said the government of national unity that's supposed to be formed after agreement should be on responsibility sharing, not power sharing. Now, IGAD has thrown this, Sudan and Uganda has played their part, and now people are talking about power sharing. So it's a matter of accommodating people, the elites, they must be accommodated so that they're happy. Now you have a parliament which is almost 550. Yani 550. Nigeria, with a population of 100 million, it has only 300 and something and 60 MPs. So Sudan now has 550. coming to the ministers, you have 41 ministers. Yeah? Khartoum now, for example, which is more well off in terms of economic revenue than us, okay, has cut off their ministries to 20 because of austerity. At the same time, they're supporting 45 or 41 ministries in South Sudan. This is a complete joke, and we've been taken for granted. So the political transformation, institutional transformation that we've been demanding as opposition has not been put in place. Now, if you come to the demands of the opposition, when we started talks in December on revitalization, we had 10 points. You know, talking about the lean government, talking about government of technocrat, talking about prime minister, talking about, you know, name it. None of them, Mr. Jongkor, none of them has been agreed in the agreement. The only thing that has been only agreed on the agreement is on the security sector, where we have to form a national army. That's the only thing. So there's nothing for us in the opposition, you know, to sign the agreement. That's what we say. This agreement, first, is not owned by South Sudanese. It is an agreement that will advance the interests of these two countries I've mentioned, okay? And this will take all the resources of South Sudan, and oil is non-renewable. There will be no, if oil South Sudan run out, we will almost become like any destitute countries. And this is a responsibility upon us as a generation, for other generations that are still coming, and those who are not yet born, that we want to leave a country that is decent, a country that is sovereign. South Sudan cannot become a protectorate and a colony of these two countries. And that's why we refuse to sign the agreement.
Thank you, Ambassador Emmanuel Jawin. But I must ask this question. So now it appeared on that document you signed, refusing, you know, joint statement. But at the same time, it appeared your boss, Dr. Lamakol, have signed. So what's going on? So are you not part of what he's doing?
Well, I'm part of the NDM. Dr. Lam, of course, he signed as the chair. He has his own opinion, but I also have my own opinion. Not only me, but other colleagues also who are not happy with this agreement. So in any political organization, there are always divergences. Yes. You know, it's normal. People split because of ideologies. We're not there because of any other social connection, but what brought us together was political ideology and political principle, and the need to transform. So Dr. Lam has the right to sign the agreement if he thinks that will bring the stability to South Sudan, according to his opinion. But I beg to disagree with that, according to my analysis. Then we wish them good luck with the agreement.
Okay. Now, Ambassador Emmanuel Jawin, that's IO and other political parties, they become part of that agreement. And you and the others, NAS and others, you know, are not. What is next step here? What are you going to do with other colleagues? What's going to happen?
First of all, I think what we did first is to make the statement. The second step now is to formalize the structure of SAWA, which has not been formalized for a long time, despite that all the documents, the internal regulation and so forth has been passed since February. We know that the task upon us is enormous, but we are confident that through diplomatic and political pressure on the regime in Juba, there is a possibility, there's a window of change that we could have a decent and a dignified peace agreement that our people of South Sudan who have been suffering all along will enjoy the stability. أنين هما دايرين اتفاقية زي زواج المتعة البنتين في أسبوع والأسبوعين. دايرين اتفاق اللي هيستمر هيجيب السلام الحقيقي للمواطن. السلام معناه شنو؟ السلام معناه you know, you can get your water. المرة لو بقى عيانة ممكن تمشي من مستشفى تلدي بدون خوف إنها تموت. دايرين أولاد نمشي مدارس. لو مشيت جوبا, as people are saying, يا اليتامى يقفوا في الشوارع. Okay, أبوهاتهم وأمهاتهم ناضلوا عشان بلد يطلع. Okay, now they are beggars on the street. Is this a situation we want? Yes, we are tired of war. That's right. And no one loves war. But we want peace that will bring decency and respect to ourselves as South Sudanese. So we'll be restructuring ourselves as SAWA, and also we will continue exerting diplomatic and political pressure on the regime until KRC the sense that there's a need for a genuine peace. Kir and Riyak and IO, they have been responsible for the war. SPLM has been admitting this, Jongkor. Okay, when Arusha agreement was signed, the SPLM admitted that we are responsible for the conflict in the country. Now, if they admitted that they're responsible for the war in the South Sudan, then also with that admission, they are responsible for the torturing and human rights violations that have taken place in the country. As we speak today, yes, Nuer were killed in Bantu, in Juba. Yes, IO killed people in Bor, and they killed people in Malakal. They killed the Shuluk in Malakal. And these are the soldiers of Riek Machar. Okay? So as much as we condemn the killing of the innocent Nuer civilian in Juba, we also as much condemn the killing of our people in Bor and in Pariang and in other places in Malakal. So those who committed these atrocities must be held responsible and accountable for what crime they have committed. We cannot just go back to Juba as if nothing has never happened. So we will not accept this. This is why we said there's no peace without accountability. And there's no peace without justice. And justice delayed, Jongkor is justice denied. And this is why we said we will not be part of this Masrahiyah. The Masrahiyah. We cannot be part of this puppeteering between Khartoum and Uganda.
Emmanuel Ajawin, thank you so much for your thoughtful and articulate point.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you made it. And you know what? Professor Adwoknyaba did real well today. So it was
That's
good to
good.
have you.
I will listen.
Yeah,
I will listen
if you
to
have
it
a chance,
later
watch
on.
it.
I will.
All right,
will
thank
listen.
you so
Thank
much.
you. I'll be around.
Okay.
Shukran.
Thank you.
Shukran, Jongkor.
Okay, let me go back here and see who are here. Badeni ya jamaa. So go ahead and send me a request, dear brothers and sisters, so I can bring you in. Like I said, I've been trying to reach Gurkuju. For some reason, let me go ahead and try one more time, other technique. And if it didn't work, and then maybe he need to exit and come back without writing anything. So it will show green to me, and then I will try to bring him back. All right, it looks like it's gonna work this time, which is good. So I'm calling you right now, Gurkuju. Malaysia Aki, you know, sometimes technology is not in our hand. I try my level best, but it didn't go through. Now, here we have you. Welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. The floor is yours, Gurkuju.
Thank you. A special greeting to you, Brother Jongkor, for the fantastic job that you are doing, creating awareness and empowering our people. Also, a special greeting to the concerned citizen who are watching. Very unfortunate for some engagement. I couldn't listen to our uncle fully, but I capture his concluding remarks. But moving forward,
yes,
let me say this. What been signed in Addis Ababa yesterday, I call it a waiver, or this is a license been given by IGAD, been given to Riek Machar and Salva Kiir to continue to kill our people. And the days will prove that. Because those two, how many agreement, how many handshake they shake.
Okay.
And then
I will, Edward. Go ahead, yeah.
And then they continue to go and kill our people every time they shake their hand. That means that Junubin Haimutu Badi Shoya. And all the writings are on the wall. So there is no way that, we can expect anything different than what happened previously. Because also, looking at this agreement, The previous agreement that Riek Machar signed with Salva Kiir is much, much stronger. So many things been spelled out clearly. But who abrogated everything? It was Salva Kiir overnight with his plan, with his good friend Taban Guy. They playing it, and they got Junubin in trouble. So we, NAS and other political party, and thanks to Maulana Emmanuel who came and managed to clear his position, we refuse this peace talk or peace agreement because it failed to address the main issue. And as a matter of fact, as opposition bloc, I was in Addis Ababa, we have 16 points we presented to IGAD mediator. And just to make our people aware, quickly, I will mention a few of those points why we refuse, because none of our proposal been considered. None of our proposal been put in place. And I will mention a few of them, because the opposition bloc, we demand that the federal system should be spelled out clearly in the agreement. So this is the system that it is a popular demand by people of Republic of South Sudan. The vast majority, they demand a federal system. This is the way that we are going to govern ourselves. And
so actually, I'm sorry to cut you off. I asked Dr. Peter Adwok Nyaba on that, form of government. Should we have a federal system? And actually he said no. And the reason he said no, he said because it's going to put people based on ethnic line. And that's why he rejected, that ideals. What's your intake on that?
I believe what so-called the Constitution of South Sudan enshrine the right of citizen free movement and to settle in any part of the country. So if this is one of the principles in our Constitution, so why we worry about the federal system? We have 20 plus countries around the globe been governed by a federal system. But the federal system, for example, the system that we have in Canada.
Important to take medication as prescribed.
Go
ahead. Go ahead.
The system that we have in Canada is slightly different than what's been implemented in the United States. But it is crucial for our people to sit down and to decide and determine what kind of federal system we are gonna have. Because already we are divided in our tribal line. Our political party are within, they are either regional or tribal organization. So,
I also welcome Yan Matthew for joining us. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about here? So if the citizen, they have the right of movement and settlement anywhere in any part of the country, so what is the problem? Let me go back to my point. Secondly, as a opposition bloc, we demand a lean government, which with minimum or maximum of 17 ministers, because we don't have the resources. The resources that we are going to get from our friends and people who are going to sponsor this peace talk should go for a service deliverance, not to be spent on this huge council of ministers. And we have witnessed what happened in Khartoum a few days ago. So they pushed Junubin to have 41 ministers, and then Bashir decided to go to a lean government with less number of ministers. Also, we propose a rotational presidency, whereby we should have at least 3 or 4 people within the Council of Presidency, whereby they will have equal power. And if the transition period gonna be, let us say, 36 months, this period to be divided among those three individuals equally. So each region will represent in this rotational presidency, and they have equal power, because Salva Kiir use and abuse the power to the extent, and that is why people are suffering. But being the president with 5 or 6 vice presidents, by the end of the day, he will continue with his degrees. So presidential decree after presidential decree, appointing, firing, appointing, firing. And this is what brought us into this trouble. We request that the member of parliament should be maximum of 100, minimum of 170, maximum of 250, in line with the lean government, because those resources, we want to maintain them, to use them for service. We request that there must be a national army in its character and professional. And this is the only part that been implemented during the security arrangement. So we hope that part will come in plan, but there is no guarantee, because since they rejected everything, how are they going to implement that security arrangement? So that question, we will leave it to those of Salva Kiir. We requested abandon of those 32 tukul. I don't call them state, I call them tukul, or, you know, those milayat, which Salva Kiir created them, because some state, they don't have, you know, place where the governor or they can form their, they can sit and conduct their meeting. And we have seen some funny pictures online that, you know, some state they have a small tukul, and, you know, it is funny. So if we call it an agreement, okay? When you go for peace talk, always there is a compromise. There is akzoata. So if all what I decide to place on a table, literally nothing been considered, nothing been taken. So, you know, how are we gonna settle? What is the settlement? Because you have to give and take, but you cannot force me to accept every single thing that you brought it to the table. You know, it took us one day, the whole day people are arguing in Addis Ababa, because the opposition, they call for a radical change in government system. And Makwi was very upset about the radical change to be underlined. Why it is a radical change? So that argument took the whole day. So the government, using our resources, the resources of people of Republic of South Sudan, so that to continue to stay in power. And that is why they sold our oil. They gave it to Bashir, so that to offer them protection. They gave our mineral, as Maulana mentioned, to Ugandan, because under this protocol, this new arrangement, Ugandan forces or Ugandan army are allowed to come to South Sudan, because they are going to retrain the SPLA or the Oye army. Also, under the same protocol, the Sudanese army have access to come to South Sudan to protect the oil, and also to offer training to IO army. So now, under that shield, will enable them to smuggle army weapon, so that they can continue to strengthen their position and to continue to crush our people. Now, what we have in it, we don't have anything, because when, on behalf of National Salvation Front, when we came out, we declared our movement, we have objective, and those objectives, basically, we can go back to that triangle of the SPLA, SPLM. We are calling for justice, equality, and prosperity to all people of Republic of South Sudan. Simple question. Under this agreement, is our people going to get justice? The answer is no. Under this agreement, there is a chance for our people to be prosper? The answer is no. It is very obvious. Ugandan and Sudanese are going to be prosper. Under this agreement, there will be a chance for equality if the few elite, they decide to divide the cakes among themselves? So how about our daily men and women who are suffering, dying on daily basis in Republic of South Sudan? Now, let me go back. What is the way forward since we reject this peace?
Give me one second here. I want to make a comment here. Guys, like I said from the beginning of this show, you know, you have a right to disagree with someone, but you don't have right to insult somebody. So Emmanuel Manyang, I'll give you the last warning, because I've seen here you've been so aggressive using derogatory language, you know, against people who are making their comment, people who are speaking. If I see that one more time again, seriously, I'm gonna block you. I'm sorry. You know, this is the way we are. I welcome you. You have right to disagree with me, but you don't have right to insult somebody whatsoever. So if I see that one more time, that's the last warning. I'm gonna cut you off. Go ahead, please.
Those are, of course, the government element, and
yeah, they can disagree, but they cannot insult. What I meant here, someone can disagree with me, fine, but you don't need to insult anyone. Don't use derogatory words. I will not accept that. Go ahead.
Thank you. Let me go back, because there is a question been erased earlier. We rejected this peace agreement. What is the way forward? What are we going to do? First of all, المثل العربي البسيط بيقول امشي مع الكذاب لحد باب الدار. So they did agree on what's so-called the peace agreement. And we have to give peace a chance. Yes. Because silence of the gun is a good thing for our people. Okay? But our advice to our brothers and sisters, those are in internal displaced camp, those who are in refugee country, those are abroad, stay where you are. Don't take your chance going quickly to Juba or going back home, because till this peace been implemented, there is a national army, a national security and profession in their contact, especially the security arrangement. If they succeed to implement the security arrangement, 100% most likely this peace will succeed. But if nothing happened with the security arrangement, then let us give them chance. Let them do what they are doing. But my message to Salva Kiir, Riek Machar, and those other parties who signed the peace agreement, please prove us wrong. Prove us wrong that we misread the writing on the wall, that there is something gonna take place in Juba. And what they sign in Addis Ababa, it is a waiver, it is a license to give them license to go and kill more of our people. Let them prove us wrong, okay? Then, of course, it will affect our credential as other political party. So we miscalculate the whole thing. Or otherwise, we are giving them the chance. Let this peace be implemented, and we will see the result. I will yield the floor back to you, because there is a lot of people in line. I appreciate your chance, giving me the chance to air our views. And also, we are open-minded to listen to other party to see what they have in their package. But let us give peace a chance, although it is a fake peace, but let us prove them wrong. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Brother Gurkujo, for coming on and, having your perspective here as well. Please stick around. Of course, yes, you have to give peace a chance. And if the government and the IO and other political parties extended their hand to you and to Malong and others, why not sitting down as the brothers, as the sisters, and find a common ground? Because at the end of the day, like you said, We need peace to our people in South Sudan, sustainable peace, peace that will be, give me justice, liberty, prosperity for our country. So thank you so much for coming on. Let me go ahead and give chance to other South Sudanese who are waiting as well to make their comment.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, let me go ahead and check those. Tuj, I don't know. Tuj, you didn't send me a request, but actually I'm trusting you. Yes, you are a government. I want to bring government guy, so I can hear from you as well. Tuj, send me a request, please, if you are there. I don't know where is Charles Deng. Charles, are you still in school? Okay. Adeng Malok. Adeng Malok Aleng. I'm calling you right now, Adeng. If you are available, go ahead and answer that. We've been going, guys, but it's time for you. Hello. Adeng, good to see you.
Good to be on show today, Jongkor.
No problem. So, I know that you came a little bit late. You didn't, hear the interview between me and Dr. Peter Adwak Nyaba. But anyway, yes. If you catch up some, so now I want to get your insight as well on the show. You have heard many people have spoken. So what is your intake?
Well, first of all, Brother Jongkor, I want to appreciate you for this show. 2 to 3 hours every Friday is not easy, given our situation in America and that you need to work for your children. You have beautiful children, by the way, and wife. Hajadel, this is another part of working for South Sudan and giving birth. If there's no better way of loving your country than what you're doing. So right. For that, I commend your job, and may God continue to bless you, keep you healthy, so you can continue to bring South Sudanese together in a forum like this. I have not much to say. Unfortunately, I did not listen to Uncle Adwak, but I'll listen to it later. I know he's a very straightforward, eloquent speaker. Therefore, I'm sure that he has very strong points out there. We might agree or not agree with him, but still he has points. What I will say regarding this piece, there have been a lot of opinions. There have been a lot of differences. And I like what my brother said, the last speaker, Krukuji. I don't know, maybe I'm spelling it wrong. Gurukuju. Okay. What brother Krukuji said that we must give this chance a peace. This peace. I'm sorry, my kids are back from school. Don't worry, just go ahead. I can hear you well. Yeah. So let's give this peace a chance. The reason why I say, Nena kula na Jongkor, we are human beings and we all have interest. Shufta? Correct. Interest hagima, interest hagek. Yes. At the end of the day, our interest is that South Sudanese can come together. We can have a peaceful environment. Say that you and I can be able to take our children back and show them the motherland. You know, can cap, can batal, they will see and make the decision. But if there is no peace, we cannot access these small, let's say, these small privileges. We cannot have them without peace. Peace is everything to South Sudanese, Nazena, because we all cannot depend on government. Government is too small to take care of all of us. But like in peace, we can build, we can cultivate, we can do everything as citizens to take care of ourselves and to give back. Without peace, we cannot do it. Now there are all these political parties. Yes, the government of South Sudan is not clean. They are not 100% on the right. No, that's not what we are saying. But what we are saying is that let's come together on the round table. Let's go back we are blaming Uganda and Sudan. But what we are forgetting is that we cannot make a difference when we are not inside. Only when you are inside that you can make a difference. Let's take an example. I grew up in Kenya. When I grew up in Kenya, back in early 90s when President Moi was still the president of those days, democracy took a long time for it to be realized. There are people, some of your viewers maybe studied in Kenya, they know the history. There were the likes of people like Matiba, who had political parties. Raila Odinga of today, who's still struggling to come up as a president and not able to. These are people back when we were very little kids. And it took them many, many years for Kenya to be where it is. Democracy is not a one-day thing. Democracy is a process. Can there in democracy for Junub? I don't think war, guerrilla warfare, is the way forward, because this is a primitive way of fighting. The world is in 21st century. There's a modern way of fighting, and the modern way of fighting is through words, and it can only be done inside. Shufta, if we love South Sudan, one thing I always keep asking, and I will say this, though it might rub a lot of people in a wrong way, but I will say, if you truly love South Sudan, are you ready to take the bullet? Don't use the population. Don't use the young population that don't know what they're doing, or the young population that are hungry, or they're being given $1,000, $500, and then they are told, go fight tomorrow, I'll give you, you'll be a brigadier, whatever you be. Don't use them. Go yourself, Kede. They yourself Uganda. We are seeing MPs being put in jail. They are being harassed, they are being beaten. Are our politicians, do they love South Sudan that much that they are ready to take the bullet? Wahed minnom yodorobo, yala. We all hear that so and so was killed yesterday in a protest against the injustice that is being done. I don't know if no one of us is ready. What we are doing, we go sit in other countries, and then we use the poor population to do the dirty job for us, to sacrifice their lives. I don't think that is fair. So let's be realistic, ya jamaa. We cannot sit fi America lela, iyalna guiding your grow into makil, haya kwais, madaris fi, mushwishwiat fi, yala fi yalta nin mindom hajada. Yala negulu gal peace day, we cannot peace day, peace day, I like it by all means. Doesn't make sense. Makidalo kan bemshi haja kan besit zede bemshi. Kan bemshi 5 years ago, kan bemshi 5 sana ya jama. Lakin Kira stayed for 5 years now. So, common sense is saying that war is not the solution. War is not the solution. We have to accept this peace. We have to go on the round table as Sudanese and talk. These countries that we are blaming, Uganda or Kenya, they don't come by themselves with Sudan. It is us who invite them. And if we are saying, okay, we don't want them and we don't want this peace, the question is, okay, you continue to stay whatever country you're staying and you say we don't want peace. Kir will continue to use this mineral or the oil that we are claiming is using to finance this war as you sit in these other countries and talk. What have you done for South Sudan? Malta Shinule Jinub. Madi Haja Malta. Because Kir will continue to tap the resources to finance the war, and you continue to sit in those bush or in those countries and complain like what we are doing now in Facebook. Shifter. So I will not go far. I am a concerned citizen, just like yourself. My interest is for peace, so I can go back home and cultivate my my small garden. South Sudan is a big land, a big landmass. The population is too small for the landmass of South Sudan. So what we just need is peace. Each one of us can go into agriculture and we'll live well. Than waking up every day and going for this 8-10 hours job of $19, $20. We are tired of it, you know. So let's be realistic on what we want. So Brother Jongkor, I will not go more than this. I appreciate what you're doing. May God bless you. and bless all the viewers. And let's remember to put South Sudan and South Sudanese first beside our personal interests. Thank you.
I really appreciate you, Adeng Malong Aleng, the daughter of the hero in South Sudan. Thank you so much for coming on and having your perspective here today. You have a wonderful night right there in New York. Thank you.
Okay, you have a beautiful weekend.
So that's what Adeng Malong Aleng, speaking on concerned citizen of South Sudan, just made a calamity. Let me go ahead here and see, because we are running out of time, and see who have requested. Charles, I do see you there. I do see others also. Let me go ahead and bring you, Charles. And Tuj, if you are available, send in your request as well. So. All right, Charles Deng.
Brother Jongkor, today I'm look like
put on the glasses.
I'm look like Kwan Malwala.
You look like Kwan Malwala today, yes.
So I behave what, nearly?
I think you behave borely, maybe. Okay, welcome to Concerned Citizen of South Sudan. Go ahead, brother.
There's a lot of things.
Okay.
You know, yeah, so that's why I was telling you, you know, the school zone police as well is everywhere in the corner.
Yes.
Yeah, by the way, Adam Gulek, thanks a lot for the great show you are doing today and bringing the historian man, Zol Munad al Kabir, Dr. Peter Adok.
Yes.
By the way, Tabia, Zola Darbo fi harb ta Jiko, Jongkor. Yeah, Kurenu Tau Gatawa fi harb ta Jiko. It was been shot in 1986. And I can't listen to Sagai Zamandat. So Zol Munad al Kabir, I think he was a captain. He was a captain that time, 1986. So he's very hero, and I love him very much. Taban is an open-minded person, mind to hajat khalfiyah. So we really like whatever he said. But I love the way he analyzed this piece and the situation we have. This is good, and it is great for you to have somebody, big man like this to your show. So also you made the historian to yourself to bring people like those guys. Well, Jongkor, it's time for peace, it's time for confusing, it's time for agitation, and it's time for rebellion and so on. So this is everybody will take his own way. But let me tell you this. That paper was circulated about those who are refusing the peace. Did you get it, is it? I hear that you say you got it.
Yeah, the sign, joint statement, right?
Yeah, I know. To me, I know the signature of Pagan for the CPA, but the signature back there, it doesn't look like Pagan. When you read, there's a column there was left. Everybody will put Gal NDM and whatever. But the column with Pagan, they put his name and signature. So Kide, I'm skeptical a little bit. Maybe
Charles, I cannot speculate until Pagana Mum come out the public say, oh, that's not my signature. And then from there, we can know.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Let us wait for it, because the signature there, to those who know the Pagan signature, I see that signature is not really original from Pagan. You know, let us be realistic. First of all, Jongkor, peace was signed. And the bad thing is, most of us, we never read the document. Even me, myself. You know, this content of the peace is 122 pages. 122 pages.
Wow.
They are content of Salam. Even me, I never read of them. I never read all of it. But I just focus on chapter 2. Yeah, Hajar al-Mahim, chapter 2, when it comes to the secure arrangement, this is chapter 2, I focus on it. And then I focus on chapter 5 with the accountability. But if you look at it, brother, that piece, it helped. It helped at Jongkor. I know there's a lot of doubt on this. First of all, me, I used to be criticized in Salva-Kiir, but for this one, I give him credit. I give him for this credit, because if you read these documents, brother Jongkor, you would see everything is there. The only thing is, Hajj al-Mafi, you know, they call them federalism, like people who are claiming the federal, but that federal is left open to the public, to the citizen of South Sudan to decide, okay, to decide their own, if they, what kind of the system of government they're looking for. For Assalam. Hold on, Joko, sorry. So,
Okay.
Assalam, and I'm surprised, the opposition forces, they are confusing citizens. Because look, all of them, they signed the papers. Lamakol signed. Okay? Good, group General Thomas, they signed the peace. People outside, they are talking something else. So Anabugul here, there is something wrong with maybe they are defect from their own parties, but they don't want to declare themselves, and then they are confusing citizens. Galfi Salama Mada. Let us be realistic. We don't want to confuse citizens. My goal, self local membership, Makan Torodobe go but Ayo is they are the lion with a jungle with Sudan. And they never defeated. SPLA used to be jungle in South Sudan. We never defeated Bashir. The peace is a pressure. Yeah, and Salam, the pressure is a pressure. Yes, it's coming from everywhere because to accept. Then here, and in Abugulshinu, the international community, they are not supporting that peace. No, they need to understand what the Turkey were talking about. Turkey, Magalu, we are not supporting that peace. They said they are washing, but they are not what? They are not going to donate the money. Because why? They want to see the framework but 8 months. Because these 8 months, this is where the mechanism with all those peace agreements will be started implementing. All 8 months. Until Shah Khamsa, that's why the new transition government, they will start going to Juba. So those of Riek Machar and Lema Call and so on, nobody is going to Juba right now. Now they're going to Juba by Shah Khamsa. As soon as the security arrangement was set, they're not rushing to Juba right now. So they are going to start all the committees, how did they will start this agreement. For those who are claiming that this peace is not the right peace, you see, you have to know yourself. Shifta go lo selfa gidru bare ma godel, they maintain themselves and they forgive themselves, other citizens like Junubin, and they're looking back to their citizens, and then they united all these forces and they become the national army forces. So what? And now look at the rebellion. All Africa now that denied the rebellion. Mafizo their rebellion again. By this coming 2 years, Mafizo, nobody needs any rebellion. We need even this rebellion to be transforming to be a party political arena. My corner rebellion to shield Sila, and then you kick you voice out. This thing is going to be to an end. I'm surprised for those who are waiting, girl. This man is going to go in this way. No, we have to go inside. All opposition there, let them agree on this peace. Go inside and change, make transformation of this agreement and make yourself as a party. That's the only way that's the only way you're gonna win. But if you say you're gonna fight, Al-Federal, the SPLA was calling for federal 1983 and let people go. Go back to the manifesto. SPLA fought for Abuja 1, Abuja 2, they were calling for federal. Okay, federal is for the public. Citizens will decide what kind of a system they're looking for. They might one party. It's not the ruling party or it's not the opposition party to decide, hey, this is the system we want. It's for the citizen. They'll mu'atirin. For who are supporting something else, you guys, you need to read this agreement. This agreement is cover everybody. It helps anybody. 122 pages. It may be take 1 month to read for it. Let fit kalam confused bugulu. In 1947, in Junubin got a federal. Junubin, they were talking to the northern end that we, the southern, we need to decide to determine our own future. And from there, people take that one, look at different, they are federal, but Junubin. No, it was wrong. That's not the way people was calling for. And then can to be Junubin for Junub Sudan. For your brother Jongkor, for confusion a lot here. And they need to be very careful. The opposition forces, they are confusing citizens. They are confusing. Tell Gazol, Barra, part of his part is signed the peace. And we are not this part of the peace. But in the agreement pages, Tabelga Imdabata Lama call inside, Tabelga Imdabata Riek Machar, Imdabata Selfa, Imdabata so on and so on. Even Thomas Cirillo. I'm surprised, brother Jongkor, what's going on with the people here? They want to stay outside or what? What's going on with them?
I don't know. I don't know, but everybody, Tawan, of course, you know, we agree to disagree. Someone can have their own different opinion. Of course, we need peace. But let's wait and see. Like Brother Gurkuja said that, let us give this peace a chance and see what's going to happen. Actually, peace is not a problem. The problem is implementation. If implemented, and then there would be no problem, actually. You know?
And that's why they give them 8 months there, Brother Junko, because within these 8 months, that's where you can see the implementation of the peace. So those guys, they are not going to Juba until after 8 months. So that means it's going to be in middle of the May. So if you look at all those months, that is why you can see if there's reform is going on, you can see, yes, there is a sign of the peace. But right now, it's not time for us to criticize the government. It's not time for us to criticize who signed the peace. That's not the way it should be. We should focus on them. We should push them to agree and to decide what they agree on it so that our people can be free. Hajj of rebellion is not easy. People see God Hajj side, them Hajj side. There is a suffering on it. And you know, look at those guys of Nuer. Nuer, they're suffering in jungle. They were fighting by themselves. So some people never joined them. So why need a Junubin go, okay, it as well as Figaba, they shackle, and they are not joining them, you know? So if you want to, it's there, the Shadukunda go, join the rebellion in the bush, Arfa Sila, you know? Those who are Rafa Sila, Yamada Salam. So whoever was calling, this is, you know, we have to be like just to get Nukuna agree, let us be national for agreement. Man confuse people with salam in it. For a salam, yes, it's not a bad peace, it's not a good peace, but it is peace. People can work for it to make it as a peace. This is what I can tell you, Brother Junko, and just bring them in.
Thank you.
But
Thank you so much,
for the
Charles.
salam.
Yeah, thank you, Charles, for your point, your thoughts. And then stick around. I may bring you back, you know, if you wanted to jump in and make other point here. Thank you. Shukran.
Thank you, brother. Yeah.
Yeah, Jama, I am fair. Lana Finas Bukul, I'm not fair. Shuva, I tried even to bring Attilio, you know, but I couldn't. So, I'm going to give me Kulu Tija, Zemana Warilkum, and I'm going to Tija Moya. I bring from all, you know. I don't know, Yana, when people say I'm not fair. You know. So now, send a request, please, and then I'll get it. Send a request.
It's important to take
Send a
medication
request,
as
please.
prescribed.
Tuj, I don't know. You didn't send any request at all. So I don't see any request here. Let me try this. Hopefully it will work. I know sometimes network can be a problem. Okay, that one didn't work. Let me go ahead and check here. Send in request, ya Jama Azul. Okay, let me go ahead and try Nuri. Hello, Nuri and me.
How are you?
How are you? Good to see you, man. Where you been? Long time.
Yes, I'm around. I came here to tell you thank you. This has been a huge marathon.
What
right?
are you doing? You have an escarp? You have an Arab escarp today?
I'm lodging somewhere, but I couldn't wait to make a remarks, and I will step down quite shortly. So hopefully they would be okay. Let me put on my glasses. So
you don't have to. You don't have to wear glasses.
Well, some people they might wanna see this. Let me put on my glasses. All right, so that's good now. All right, so I like the question you raised. There is no good or an evil in South Sudan conflicts. All right. Well, that's really put everything in the center. Some people would say there is evil because of human rights violations. A lot of human rights violations. All right. Terrible human rights violations.
But we tend
both
to back up.
parties.
We tend to back up from those, and that's why I'm saying there is no good and evil in South Sudan conflict, right? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Right, and then if this peace process is going to stick around as the Professor Dwaknyaba is optimistic about it, then we would say that it will be good, right? It will be good that would be coming to the Republic of South Sudan. So I just want to make sure that devotion, commitment that you have put on the desirability as far as the stability and the human security in the Republic of South Sudan is concerned, it's something commendable. And I think this is the reason that your Friday show should really have inspired a lot of people to do different things, because the reason you're doing it is to empower people so that they can go on and do other things as well, as far as the situation
No,
is
actually,
concerned.
Nuri has 5 minutes only. Don't worry about time. Nuri has 5 minutes. Go ahead, Nuri.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, I know they usually get concerned, but to be honest, I don't usually take time these days. I usually step down much quicker. But it depends. What I'm saying here is, there is optimism. There will be a process that would be put on it. And I like the way Professor Adwoknyaba has put it with optimism that peace is not going to come unless there will be people who would be working on it, people who would be committed to it. And I think the way he sounded is sounding as if those people who are not happy with the peace, I think the peace signatories might be able to reach out to folks such as Malungawan, to folks such as Thomas Chirilo.
Yes.
This is what I read from him, that as long as there is a good progress, there will be a time in which the parties who actually signed the peace would be able to reach out to those individuals, because there is no it will never be a perfect peace unless you bring everybody on board.
Yes.
And I think it's very optimistic about it that maybe he will be able to convince the president, convince other parties. He's a key figure on the peace talks. He's a key figure on the peace process. So he would be able to work hard to make sure that this peace is very inclusive. So I'm very optimistic that the parties that have signed it, who have signed a peace would be able to reach out to the other parties. And I think that's the beauty about it, because we can all get involved and say there is never a final peace unless you bring everybody on board. Now, there is a reason too. There is a reason that people should be skeptical and people should be concerned, and this is the reason you will not be closing the Friday show just because there is peace, because people need to be constantly made aware so that they can get ready. Should there be something that would be so dangerous and so concerning, then people would be able to go in there and fix it, or even try to do something constructively. So the reason some other opposition are saying, because are saying that there is no stability, or this peace will not bring stability, that's politics. It is actually politics, all right? It is politics because they want to make sure they are holding those who actually signed peace accountable, that they are keeping them in check. So anybody who read politics, or a student of political science, or student who studied politics, would be able to know that those people who are saying the peace is not real, the peace is not going to work, it is a part of politics. It is a part of creating external accountability, or creating internal accountability, so that those people would be able to work due diligently to make peace better. And then if that works, then the opposition who are saying that there is no peace, they will be able to come in and say, yes, we were putting you on the hottest pressure so that you can be able to implement peace, but not because because we're rejecting the stability to come to the Republic of South Sudan. So
thank you.
I just want our people to understand politics is still playing on, and the only person who actually played politics in the past is not an opposition, Brother Tongjang. Brother Tongjang knows how to play this politics very well. You remember he ruled them accountable. He put them under serious pressure when they went to Khartoum, all right? He gave a serious warning, all right? And he continued to give a serious warning, right? The same thing you have been playing a role as far as the calling for accountability initially is concerned. That was because you want to make sure people are being held accountable and people are not being given a blank check. So opposition who are saying that there is no peace, I think that's part of politics, and it's actually good politics, all right? Good politics so that those parties who actually signed a peace would be able to do the right things. Now, a bad politic would be if you go in there and cause a collateral damage, all right? Collateral damage in which you would be doing things that would harm civilians, and then you say, yes, because there is no peace. So responsibility is on everybody's side, but I want to thank Professor Adwok Nyaba for being optimistic. He's playing his good politics as far as signatories of the peace signature of the peace is concerned. And then other opposition, they're playing good politics as well. So this is the reason we have to go back and read the text and see why certain opposition are saying what they're saying, and why certain opposition are signing peace, and why certain supporters are standing with their chairman, and why certain supporters are not standing with their chairman. It is a politics. Emmanuel Ajawin is playing a good politics, even though he disagrees with his chairman. So he articulated in a way that would create a accountability
Thank you.
on
Thank
both
you. We are
sides.
out of time, Nuri.
So thank you. Thank you. This is lovely. And but remember, you have done an amazing job. You have been doing it, and this is the reason children are born. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. It was good to have you, Nuri, right there. Was, on our program today to make his comment. Thank you so much, and stick around, please. Let me go ahead here and bring others. So I see you that. I don't know why. Atilio, can you try to send in a request? Just try. Trying to be fair as I can. I'm gonna go ahead and see those who requested here. Bring them. Let me go try this one more time. So let me go ahead and call you Chol Maker. It looked like you requested. Let me see. Yeah, this is Quincy, Ajama. call Juba after the show. What's going on? I'm calling you, Panchol. Go ahead and answer that. You decline now, so you say call me, but finally you decline. So I'm calling you, Dual Larjin, calling you.
Hello.
Hello,
hello, brother.
Yeah,
hello, brother Jongkor.
We are out of time, brother. I give you 5 minutes. Go ahead and make your comment here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. First of all, I just wanted to say hi to your audience. And my name is Dolarjin Dorngubim. I'm from Bentiu, South Sudan.
Correct.
Yeah. First of all, yeah, it was good actually to hear the opinion of Dr. Adwok Nyaba. What I would like to say about the peace is that, you know, our people need to know that this peace is actually great for all of us because it benefits anybody. All of us, we are benefiting. We can, for those who did not sign, they need to understand that this peace is going to give us more talk, because a lot of issues we know they have not been addressed. But we cannot address them every little thing in a foreign country. We need to go to our country where even a space for talking is not paid for money. So these are things that people have to understand. Okay? For those who did not sign, let me tell you, I want to tell your viewers, those who did not sign, it is what we call a SPLM game. That's what they are doing. Okay? So SPLM, usually their game is to actually go in, and some of them come out, and then they're looking for position, power sharing. So you don't worry about that. What we need to know is that for the parties that have signed, there are some things that may lead this peace to break out. And this is what we don't want. Those are the things that we should be talking about. Okay?
What
I have identified.
What are those things?
Yeah, to me, I have identified 5 of them.
Okay.
5 of them.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Number 1 is what we call unknown gunmen. As if you have heard Jongkor, the peace of 2016, it was first, the implementation could not go through because of unknown gunmen. You know, the first they were targeting the opposition, IO security members. And then that led to a war. Nobody can dispute about that. It is something practical, okay? So when the security of IO were actually targeted, and some of them were killed, so they end up like they were making something called a checkpoint where they can regulate. And that is where the war started actually before it came to J1. That is one. So unknown gunman is very important. I think it is a threat to this peace agreement. If we are really concerned, we should think about how to address that. That is one. Number 2 is something called the 2 army. Okay? You know, 2 army, the way I look at it, 2 army, it is very hard for the South Sudanese to actually come together. Especially, I argue, sometimes I say, this war is between 2 tribes. It is between the Nuer and the Dinka. And it is up to these 2 tribes to actually train those army, those Nuer outside and the Dinka that are inside, to train them to become one army. If the modality of training them is not accepted, then this is where there will be a problem. Okay, I want the South Sudanese to notice that, because if SPLA think that they cannot get trained, or the IO think that they will train another private, this is where the problem comes. So I would like the party actually to think about that, to make sure that the security is set such that the training is selected based on regionalism. That is number 2. Number 3 is what we call a divide and rule. This is a policy, my friend. If you have been in experience in SPLM, the policy of divide and rule was actually from Arab initially. But I can tell you right now, it is working. It is being used by SPLM, and it is very strong because it makes the SPLM to survive. So it makes the party to survive for a long time. It makes the leaders of SPLM to rule for the long time. This is what we call divide and rule. And usually it is the elite, the SPLM elite, dividing the people according to tribe and the clan. So today they will use your tribe, and then tomorrow they throw out your tribe, and then they bring another tribe. So this is a game that we would like SPLM to actually to avoid that, if we are serious, because that is a game they play in Juba. Okay. The fourth thing is tribalism. Tribalism, Jongkor, I work in the Juba and I work inside the army. So my friend, I was in Tiger. The war that broke, it is not connected to any politics, unless if you don't know, because most of our politicians, they don't.
Your volume.
2013. These are only, they are only maybe 3 people plus me, 4. And this is Mariel Chinor. He know what was going on in the army. Commander Ian Makwai, Commander Peter Limbul, and myself in Idara. So, you know, what happened was really a tribal war. Nobody knows. They can sing you politics because they don't know, they don't know nothing. They can make allegation, accusation, but in reality, what happened in Tiger was a tribal war. It was Denka and the Nuer. Okay, the last one, the last one, which is the threat, which I think is a very huge threat to this peace, is actually what we call a war, a call for war. Okay, right now, what is going to happen? The Denka, this peace, the way, in my own opinion, for this peace, Equatorian, they will be actually be disadvantaged, because they will be like, they will be killed, like if they are not careful, they will be killed like Murle, because SPLM is dangerous game actually, if you don't understand it. So what is going to happen right now? The Nuer and the Denka, they will unite together and they will fight Equatoria to death. My friend, this what happened in Apanal will happen in Equatoria. And all this guy like Kirilo now, he need to make his own mind, because this is something I envision from my experience. Equatorian is going to be, the war is going to be in Equatoria, because the Denka and the Nuer, they will unite against the Equatoria to make sure that there is no any rebellion in South Sudan. So all of these guys, they will be in Uganda. That is one thing. Second, there is another invisible war. The Denka and the Nuer, they may decide to unite and fight the Arab that has just come in oil field. Bashir now has deployed a heavy deployment of military. So I'm not going to do anything, but I just identify 5 things that are threat to this peace. And thank you so much for inviting me. I really appreciate your show.
Thank you, Dual Lorjan. Actually, you make a very good point. You know, these 5 are very dangerous. And thank you for speaking up. We should be alert. We should be vigilant for all these 5. Thank you so much, my friend, for coming on. Let me go ahead and give opportunity to other South Sudanese people. Thank you. You know.
Thank you. God bless you.
شايفين ما كل زول يا جماعة عنده حاجة benefit اللي احنا بنستفيد منه. This brother now, he identified very important thing, and we should be aware, you know, what's going on too. See, we should not just ignore the zol sai kalam sakat. Lakin there are reality in what he is speaking, by the way. So. Where this guy, there is a guy here saying that actually I'm not fair, that's why people are not calling. Actually, those who are not requesting, they have nothing to say. If they do, they will request. You know, it's not because I'm not fair. It doesn't matter where with your organization, I bring you in. If you believe that you have something to say, actually you should request. And I know sometimes we have some technical problem. That's why I'm unable to bring, you know, Brother Tio. But if you have something to say, actually, it doesn't matter. You need to request. And actually, I was looking for you, Con Adam, to bring you in. But you didn't send in your request. If you send in your request, I can call you. Just send in your request and then I'll call you. So it looked like I saw you that you sent in another request. Ambassador, you sent in another request? Or is that the old request? I can move on.
Jongkor, did you call me back?
I think you sent in another one, right?
No, I didn't send you. Someone said call Dr. Ulao or something.
True Lao? Dr. Ulao is not here actually. I've been searching for him.
I don't know. You call me. That's why I answer it. So I don't know if you have anything for me.
Okay, no, I don't. Let me go ahead and search for him here and bring him back. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, Jama, go ahead and send in a request, Jama. I don't see Dr. Ulao here. You know. Okay, just type call and then I'll try my best. Thomas didn't send in a request, Abdullah. Lily, you decline. They can't bring Lily to the camera, so. All right, let me go ahead and check this here. Okay, you decline. Let me go ahead. Ya Jama, Zol Jadid, ana man adetu, send me request. Zol Jadid, ana man adetu, send me a request. We still have a little bit of time here. I think we are okay. Okay, let me try you, Romy. Sending you a request. I'm calling you, Romy. All right. Deliot. No, أنا ما سامع صوتك. سامع صوت بتاعك. يا طلع سماع. طلع سماع. أنا ما سامع يا رومي. طلع سماع من أذانك. كان طلعت السماعة بيكون أفضل لأن أنا ما سامعينك خالص. ما بتقدر تسلي سماعة؟ معلش رامي منين ما بنقدر ما سامعين كلامك. Yeah, let's try it one more time. So, I apologize. ahead and try to send it in again, Rami. Okay, now you send it in. عشان celebrate كل يوم خلينا celebrate عشان celebrate كل يوم خلينا celebrate بالأيام ما تسوي ملاكمة. أيوة كده إننا قاعد نسمعك.
اوكي سامعني؟
يا سامع
كيف اخبارك؟ تمام؟
الله كويسين الحمد لله.
غايته من خلال برنامجك انا بحاول احيي كل الناس المشاهدين والمستمعين. نعم. انا دائما من المستمعين لبرنامجك، ما بحاول اشارك لانه بحاول اتعلم من الناس ومن افكار الناس عشان استفيد من افكارهم. يعني جزء من التوعيه وانتم بتقدموا للناس. نحن يمكن نعم. يمكن انا جزء من المجموعه كبيره من الناس اللي ما عندهم درايه بالاحداث الحاصل في جنوب السودان، لكن من خلال برنامجك في السنين اللي فاتت باعتبار بقى لنا واجهه او شاشه للجنوبيين اللي ما عندهم فكره عن الوضع في جنوب السودان. شكرا. انا تابعت حديث البروفيسور قبيلك. وانت كان علقت في 3 نقاط تقريبا. نعم. في نقطه انا متفق معك فوقه في الفيدراليه. نعم. هو اصلا ما رفض الفيدراليه، لكن حسب فهمه انه الفيدراليه في الوضع الحالي اللي احنا بنمر في جنوب السودان حيكون صعب، وحيخلي القبليه متجذر لسه في الجنوبيين. ودي نحن النقطه اللي دخلنا في المشاكل حاليا. نحن لازم نتخلص من نقطه القبليه. اذا نحن كنا نطبق فيدراليه حنوزع الناس حسب مناطقهم القبليه او الاثنيه، وده حيزيد الازمه. نمره 2 كان عن في نقطه انا نسيتها. عن ناس كبار يعني رول. يا ذاتس ترو. يا كم اداك مثل بانه هل الطفل او الجنس الصغير ولد صغير ممكن يكون في قبيله معينه ممكن يكون فهو داير يوصل لك فكره انه شنو؟ الزول الكبير هو دائما مسؤول عن الناس اللي تحته او الناس الاصغر منه. حاجه دي موصله في الجنوبيين. عشان نحن نطلع الحاجه دي من الناس هيحتاج زمن، هيحتاج مراحل. وقام لكن انا يا رامي انا ما قلت نطلعه نهائيا. انا قلت يا اخي الشباب لانه عندهم انرجي، وانت عارف مثلا الناس كبار الشباب عندهم انرجي فيزيكالي منتالي، قادرين يتحركوا، قادرين يعملوا حاجات كثير. المفروض يشاركهم، ما يكون بس يعني رول بتاع راندي وجلدون. You know it doesn't work and that's why البلد ماشي ورا. Yeah go ahead. That's true but that need time. لازم نحن ندي لنفسنا زمن. إذا أنت زول عجوز وكبير ومؤهل إنك تقود دولة، تقود شعب، تقود أمة، you welcome. إذا أنت زول شاب عندك قدرة وعندك ومؤهل إنك تقود الشعب، بدوك فرصة. لكن أنت ما تنتظر إنه يدوك فرصة. أنت لازم تاخذ حقك بيدك. لازم تبرهن للناس إني أنا عندي إمكانية إنه أنا أقدم الشعب بتاعي لقدام. وهو عنده، هو حسب كلامه، أنا حسب الكلام اللي فهمته منه هو انه الشباب لازم يضغطوا على الكيانات الموجوده، القيادات الموجوده لازم يفرضوا نفسهم على اساس انه يقدموا حاجه للوطن. انا متاكد انه في شباب اليوم ممكن يقودوا الدوله يودونا لمرحله يعني نحن ما بنتخيلها. نحن دوله صغيره لكن عندنا حاجات كثيره متوفره نحن ممكن ننمي بها البلد، لكن دايرين الفرصه. نحن لازم ننتزع الفرصه من القيادات الموجوده قدامنا، من الناس الكبار الموجودين قدامنا، من جالدوان whatever it is. نحن لازم الجراندي لازم نحن نوريهم انه نحن لنا قدره انه نقود البلد. انا ما عندي كلام كثير اقوله، وبس بوجه رساله واحده للجنوبيين: خلينا نعطي فرصه للسلام. الحرب حرب ناس كتار منه تضرر، انا تضررت، انت تضررت، اي زول يتضرر من الحرب، ما في زول استفاد من الحرب. خلينا ندي فرصه للسلام. السلام ما حدث، السلام بروسيس ما ايفنت، از بروسيس. نحن لازم ناخذ فوقه زمن. يا ريت نرفع صلواتنا لربنا انه رياك وسلفا والناس حاليا قاعدين نشاكل، خلينا نقعد في ترابيزه واحده نساعد الناس نحقق لهم امنياتهم، لانه نحن صار لنا 21 سنه عشان ايه؟ عشان نقعد مع بعض نعيش كشعب واحد، لا شلكاوي لا دنكاوي لا نيراوي. وانا في سؤال قبيل كان طرحته ليك انت ما جاوبت عليه. الناس المعارضين ما وقعوا على الاتفاقيه حاليا، يعني وين مصدر القوه بتاعهم عشان يفرضوا على سلفا، على رياض، على الناس اللي وقعوا على الاتفاقيه على اساس انهم يطردوا من السلطه؟ ليه ما يخشوا جوا ونحن نغير النظام الموجود؟ اذا نحن ما سوينا كده الحرب حتستمر. والخمسه نقاط اللي قالوا المتحدث قدامك هسه ده يعني كانت ما موجوده في راسي نهائي، لكن الحمد
لكن
لله هو
صح.
جاء وطرح
نعم.
النقاط دي
exactly.
ويا ريت السلام يتحقق وما نحصل الخمسه مراحل اللي قالوا اخونا الفات قبل شويه. وشكرا لك جونكور، وبحييك على البرنامج بتاعك، وانا دائما من المشاهدين لك. وانت يعني
شكرا.
اتصلت علي في زمن كده ذاته وانا في الشغل ما متوقع. and thank you very much.
نو مشكله، ما في مشكله يا حبيبي. شكرا لك، وسلم على كل زول في سول ليك سيتي ان شاء الله.
يصل ان شاء الله. شكرا.
ربنا يديك العافيه.
ويديك العافيه كمان.
Yeah. All right, let me go ahead and move with brother Rami. So actually, Charles, I call Edward, but Edward declined. I did call him, and he declined. Let me go ahead here and call Lugali Ajak. It look like. Okay, I'm calling you, Lugali Ajak. Go ahead and answer that. Suleiman, Dr. Peter Adwog يتكلم خلاص ومشي. انت كنت نايم. اهلا وسهلا لوغالي اجاك. good to see you. انت في ساوث السودان. معلش انت زمن طويل، طبعا الليست كان طويل تحت وفوق وانت ما you didn't send in a request, but anyway you are here.
I send you a request, but I'm patient. You know, I don't want to be bothering you, but my correct name is Luigi Paul Ajak.
Oh, Luigi Paul Ajak.
Luigi.
I apologize.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's okay. It's okay. This is the first time I call, and I watch your show all the time, you know, and I really want to thank you so much for this work you're doing for our people, you know, as a concerned citizen, and everybody actually is a concerned citizen. Anybody will log into your show every time is a concerned citizen.
Thank you.
And yeah, we appreciate that. Like really, you've been doing a lot of work, Jongkor, bringing all these our leaders, and every time you bring somebody really who can give us exactly from inside what's going on and what's been happening, you know, like, for example, today, Dr. Adog Nyaba, you know, I mean, a lot of people will agree, will disagree with him, but this is what we want. I mean, this is the only way we will be able to, you know, to get South Sudan somewhere from where it is right now.
Exactly.
I'm not going to take a lot of time from you. This is my first time to be in your show, and I'm just going to give you a lot of thanks. And thanks your audience also, and all the brothers and who've been there. But my starting point will be with this agreement, where our people are calling it, that everybody's calling, people are celebrating since yesterday and or since the day before that is the peace. This is not really peace. Peace you don't need to sign even. This is just the agreement to take us where, you know, the next step. But a little later got them in bed.
No.
Wait, and el asas with el bed, el foundation down. If it's not strong, of course you know better baga. Sir? My actor give. So the thing where people are talking about right now, because everybody has their opinion about what is going on now, and
go ahead. I think somebody called him. Hopefully we'll come back. So Luigi, I don't know what. So let me go ahead and try bring him back again so he can finish his thought. I'm calling you Luigi.
Sorry, somebody.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Somebody call you.
Yeah, somebody called me. So just quickly, what brother Ambassador Emmanuel just put now, I think that's the clear idea about what's going on with this agreement, or what is we call it peace agreement, you know. But for me also, I look at it, you know, as it look like it's a contract between these four guys who are the main actors of this agreement, you know, because of the pressure and all the points that Ambassador Emmanuel Khatam Gablishwe, those are the real agreement, and that's because everybody under pressure. Bashir is under pressure, Kir under pressure, Riek Machar under pressure, and for them to do it in the name of South Sudanese, it's wrong, you know, because the Natija Butao, it's going to be worse than 2016, 2013. Once they go inside there, whether they go after 6 months or 3 months, I was there. I spent 7 years in South Sudan during all this time before independence until the last 2016 I came back, and I worked for Peace Commission, and I worked for Peace Commission for so long, even when it was put as a ministry and then dropped back from ministry, and I've seen it. What is going on? Our people actually have different idea about what is peace, you know. Some people have it in their mind that
yeah, go ahead, brother. Malish. Malish, في حاجة عمل messed up هنا بس لكن.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead. We are running out of time anyhow, but finish your thought in less than 1 minute so we can go.
Okay, so the peace has to be a genuine peace from your heart. It has not to be something to be signed. It has not to be something for reward or hajat. So that's why it doesn't look beyond a agreement. Like, people don't have to fight. Just give chance to agreement how it's gonna go. But the second point I want to mention, Dr. Adok Gibel Gadegolo, is trying to tell us that the Shabab, it form a good force to yourself, you know, and go fight for yourself, like what brother Rumi just said right now. He didn't want to say directly that, you know, okay, the Shabab Tale Dukum Hagakum. If you guys are, yeah, okay. So that was a very important point. I've been talking to some other people here that if Shabab is diaspora and I really want to have something, I mean, there is movement form actually out of the country.
Thank you so much, brother. It looked like we ran out of the time. So I want to thank everybody who نزل انضم لنا وقعدوا مثلا 4 ساعات all this day. شكرا جزيلا. كان برنامج شيق جدا جدا. Good to have you all on Concerned Citizen. إلا نلتقيكم إن شاء الله الأسبوع الجاي. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful night.
Africa, say it louder. Say it louder. Salam alaikum.